Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. Welcome to this week's episode of Comic Watch, where everything is canon and the topics, they're more like a set of guidelines. Let's bring in our wonderful co-host. Nyx is unfortunately not feeling too well, so she had to sit this one out. We wish her all the best. But first off, we have the super wonderful co-host, Jared, from the league formerly known as Comics.
Okay, I'll take it.
And lastly, and certainly not leastly, we have the man for whom Rooftop Korean is his favorite gender. We have Chris. How you doing, my friend?
I love how that's his intro now. I love that.
I don't know. It's just I like it. So it just suits him, you know. Like, you are my Rooftop Korean. God, that sounds so bad. How's everyone doing tonight?
Doing pretty well.
All I see for Jared is a spinning wheel.
Can you see me, Nick?
Yeah, I can see you.
All right.
Yeah, sunshine.
No, I'm just seeing Jared as a black screen with a spinning wheel.
Oh, wow.
All right, hang on.
Oh, there you go. Oh, nope.
Now can you see me?
Now you see him? Now you don't. Now you see him? Okay. But what's everyone been like playing, watching? You know, I got some stuff I want to talk about, but you guys first.
What have I been playing? Let me see.
Chris,
I've been playing a lot of DC online because I made it. I finally made my comic character.
Wait. One at a time. Sorry.
Oh,
I can't hear or see Jared.
All right, I'll be the interpreter. I'll interpret it, Jared. So, Chris, you go first, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been playing anything. I think the last game I was playing was Immortals: Phoenix Rising. It's kind of like Breath of the Wild. It's a sadly I think it got overlooked because it's your typical Ubisoft open world game. But I think this is probably one of their better ones.
So many towers.
Yeah. Well, no, they handle the tower system completely differently, and I really enjoy what they like. There's so many innovations that they've done to the Breath of the Wild / open world formula that work really well. Oh, I can see Jared.
okay.
But yeah, I guess the game was planned for a series, and the game just didn't do well, so they just canned it. So I got it off of.
I think he froze.
Oh, I think Chris, we can't hear you, brother.
Yeah, there's something wrong with my internet right now. I'm gonna log out and log back in. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, that's a perfect opportunity for Jared. What you been playing, playa?
Well, so like I said before, I played some DCU online because I was trying. I had some time. It was on my console, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And I actually made as close a representation of my comic book character Athena in the game to check that out. I made one for Atlas a while back, so I was like, okay, I might as well check out Athena.
I remember.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so let me try this out. And I actually bought this lightning powers in the game. Because I'm making Athena lightning powers. I can't not do that. But anyway, played that. I got this really dope. It's not a new game, but it's a new game in my collection called Warriors Legends of Troy. It's essentially a hack and slash that tells the entire story of the Trojan War. A lot of crap the freaking Amazon show up. And it was a very wonderful experience. Let me put it to you that way.
We have our friendly neighborhood mod. Nyx is making a cameo into the comments.
And besides
Nyx,
that,
we hope you get well soon, and we hope you feel better.
Stop slacking. And besides that, I played some Assassin's Creed Odyssey again because I'm doing it for my show. And that's all I got of note.
All right. So the reason I brought up the segment is I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy, otherwise known as the Big.
Cancel him! Cancel him! Cancel him!
It's actually very enjoyable. I'm kind of starting to see a trend when I play modern games where it's like, all right, so they're doing this system, there's this system, there's this system. Like I'm seeing the same systems pop up in like different hodgepodges, and it's kind of get a little bit repetitive. But the game, like the wand combat, is actually pretty good. I'd say it's nice and kind of fluid. I did enjoy it. The game's it's an open world. It's good. I'll just kind of say that. But enough chit chat. Let's get into some headlines, shall we? As soon as all right, here we go.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
All right, welcome to Headline Hysteria, where we cover all the topics that are too short to handle for a full episode, but are still important nonetheless. So first up, we got a little bit of a mini review, a bit of a preview for next week's episode. So Jared, I hear you've been watching a certain show.
This is old news. We talked about this on the show before. Well,
But Cobra Kai.
Then again, I am talking about old news, so it makes sense an old man would be asking me about it.
So in case you didn't know, Cobra Kai comes back next week for part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've always been a huge Cobra. I've always been a huge
on, wax off.
I've always been a huge Cobra Kai fan myself. And Jared, my friend Jared, he started the show, but then he dropped it. Now he's getting back into it. How far are you into it, sir?
I am just starting season 5 right now.
And what do you think of seasons 1 through 4?
Pretty good. In terms of like, yeah, actually, it's pretty good because basically what it turns into, it's Odd Couple with karate. But I was DMing Nick. I swear, I laugh every time the news in the show mentions the words karate attack. I just laugh my ass off. Like that's the new Grand Theft Auto.
My favorite thing is like just the way Amanda reacts, because she was just like totally seeing the ridiculous of it's like they have warring dojos. Like I love.
Then again, Nick,
like the MVP.
The show takes place in California. Is this really too out of the realm of possibility? That's the thing. I could see karate wars happening in the streets of California.
So Chris, what's your opinion on Cobra Kai?
Oh, I love it. You know, the whole Cobra Kai thing was founded on that premise of that old YouTube video there that said that Daniel LaRusso was the real villain of Karate Kid, and they shed a sympathetic ear. Yeah, and it's funny because
that video years ago.
Yeah, and I love Johnny Lawrence in this, and it's funny because I also love Chosen. Chosen and Johnny Lawrence are two of the best characters in this series, in my opinion.
I love where there's a scene in season 4. I mean, season 4, when he's trying to get girls to go to the karate gym. So he approaches this one girl and he starts talking about pronouns and stuff, but he's totally butchering it. He's trying to make it sound like he's super woke and progressive, but he's not.
Okay.
That's the thing I like about the show. It makes fun of wokeness.
Yeah, and here's the other thing is like the series, in my opinion, does like the progressive messaging or whatever really well, because I like Miguel. I think Miguel is a great character. He's not your straight white male hero, and I
have to play this moment. This moment is just pure Cobra Kai. Also, Brown Destroyer High.
What's up, Brown?
Like this is that music.
It's an anime right there. Fatalities.
Live or die, man. I have waited a long time for this.
It's literally an anime.
No. Yeah.
Honk.
Honk.
Okay, context. So for this entire sequence, Chosen has been pretending to be this like sourpuss asshole, like his old self, but older, this entire time. And then he reveals himself to be just like the greatest guy.
Yeah.
I love that he's playing this
glad
joke.
You're having fun at my expense.
But
Yeah.
Chris, I don't know if
Like,
you
look at
know
him.
this.
Look at is this the guy that looks like he could go on a murderous rampage?
Yes, Chris, I don't know if you know this, but like Miguel is actually Jaime Reyes in the witness protection program. Like, if I could write, here's the thing: if I could write this as some like DC crossover, I would make it where Cobra Kai / this gym is secretly Batman's training program for Robins.
Dude.
Oh God.
Okay, so you mentioned Jaime Reyes. Like,
Yeah,
I am so sad for that actor. I can't remember what's his name. Like,
Zolo. What's
yeah,
up?
like, because this was his vehicle out of just being in a TV series to being in movies, and I think they sabotaged it because
went back
I
to
was
doing
watching.
now he's in an
Yeah.
animated series.
Yeah, but like I watched Blue Beetle because of Zolo. Like I like
Most
Miguel.
people did, and he
Yeah.
was
It's a good
he was
movie.
great in it. He was arguably great.
Yeah, and the movie did terribly, and it reminds me of what they did to you remember the guy from, and I God, I hate bringing this up, but my girlfriend freaking at the time made me watch it. Those stupid freaking Twilight things, the werewolf dude.
Taylor
Lautner.
By the
yeah,
way,
Taylor
those are
Lautner.
not werewolves. Werewolves don't turn into giant wolves.
Yeah,
And they're not called werewolves, they're called lichens.
yeah. Well, so Taylor Lautner had the same thing happen to him. They're like, okay, let's escape because he was wasn't he like Shark Boy or something?
Yeah, he was
But,
Shark
like,
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's like okay, now we can transition.
I love how
him
like
into-
all of Hollywood, all of like modern Hollywood, can be traced back to Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
You know what's hilarious? When they
Like, so
brought
many modern actors came out of that movie.
you know what's hilarious? They did a follow-up to Shark Boy and Lava Girl called We Could Be Heroes that featured Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and Taylor Lautner was not playing Shark Boy.
Oh,
He was not invited back. Lava Girl was.
Well, dude, they screwed him over. Like,
Mhm.
so Lautner was given like they're like, okay, we can transition him from like Shark Boy or like chick film whatever into an actual action hero, and they just put him in this movie that was so terribly written and so terribly executed.
Oh, is
that
that
it
the
just-
one where like he has to go on the run because he's assassins? Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one.
Well, I
that
blame agents for
destroyed
that.
any chances.
I
Sorry, what was it?
that's more the Hollywood agents' fault.
Yeah,
Like, if you notice, like Robert
it's like they
Pattinson-
set him up.
Yeah, Robert Patterson was very smart with the roles. Like, you notice how Robert Patterson for like 10 years did just his artsy fartsy films.
Yep.
He kind of gained the respect, and now he's a leading man.
Yeah.
Now he's Batman.
The Batman. Yeah, but like I feel bad because I see the same thing that happened to Taylor Lautner happening to Zolo. And it's like, this guy's a great actor. Like, I didn't give a crap about Miguel until I watched it. I was like, oh great, it's gonna be another Daniel LaRusso, but only Latino. This is gonna be great. And then it was like, no, holy crap, this character's awesome. This whole series is awesome.
Yeah,
See, that's
yeah.
the thing I like
They
about
could have. See, the thing Cobra Kai could have fallen into.
All right. I'm sorry. I gotta put a kibosh. This is great conversation, but we're gonna be covering Cobra Kai next week, all next week, including season 6. I don't
Okay.
want to shoot all our eggs in one basket. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. This is great conversation. You guys are doing great, but I don't want to like you do all this stuff up. So let's go to our next one. Oh, sorry, Chris. I just good conversation. So we'll be covering Cobra Kai season 6 next week as well as stuff in general. So our next topic is Comic-Con. So Chris, have you heard the news?
No, this one's new to me.
So
All right, Jared,
it
go
came
ahead.
out that due to like hotel prices soaring, San Diego Comic-Con may leave San Diego.
Well, that's not a surprise.
Yes, it's next year because I believe they have a contract for this year, but they're going to change it. So it says here, San Diego Comic-Con is celebrating its 55th anniversary, July 24th through the 28th. But how much longer will? I'm just moving on. 100,000 fans. Okay. Yeah, okay, so 2025 could conceivably be the last year that they do it in
And
San Diego.
Here's the reason I wanted to bring this up is, for one, it's a good topic. For two, it's also kind of invites some discussion of, if they do leave San Diego, where could they go? Now, for me, there's a couple parameters. I think the reason why Comic-Con is so successful is because it's so close to LA. And so a lot of the celebrities don't have to travel that far. Thus, anywhere that Comic-Con goes, it has to still be somewhat close to LA. With that in mind, I think the only city that they could conceivably go to is Las Vegas. Because anywhere they go in California, it's going to have the same problem. I think Las Vegas is the only place that, like, there's tons of hotel chains, okay? Like, there are hotels that would love to host Comic-Con in Las Vegas. They'll cut them a great deal.
Yeah. I honestly, I think a lot of
Thank you, Baby Krogan.
They've done an amazing job of destroying San Francisco and destroying San Diego. Like all of these big cities in California, like, are losing venues. They're losing venues. They're losing restaurants because of that whole $20 an hour crap.
And now they're all invading Texas.
Yeah, they've moved to Texas. And how you had mentioned Las Vegas, I got a friend that lives in Vegas, and he said over the past 10 years, the infection of California has oozed over the border into Nevada, and it's jacked up prices.
We should build a wall and make California pay for it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I don't like to get too political, but I need to say this. Every time I hear, like, if California was its own country, it'd be the sixth largest economy.
No one
like that. Like, yeah, okay, the numbers say that, but here's a problem with California becoming its own state. They'd have to pay for their water because their water.
Yep, they have no access to water or natural resources. They need us.
All of Southern California's electricity comes from the Hoover Dam in Nevada. Okay, so they would have to pay for that electricity from Nevada. Okay, and this is international countries too.
Yeah.
California would not survive on its own, which is why every I think the only feasible state attempt that might work is either the Iowa expansion, where, like, the southern half of Oregon wants to be part of Idaho, or the state of Jefferson. Chris, have you heard of that proposal?
The state of
where you take
Jefferson.
the northern half of California, which northern half of California is actually predominantly Republican, and the southern half of Oregon, and you make that the state of Jefferson.
Yeah. You'll find that the majority of people in California and in Oregon are actually kind of conservative. Like, it surprised me how polarized, like, the political leanings are there. The only places you'll find, like, the real blue people are in the cities. So the major urban areas are all, like, hardcore lefty commies, and the hardcore right wing whatever are all outside of the cities, in the suburbs and in the out in the countryside. Like, even when I was in Southern California, I saw that in Orange County, because, like, I'm pretty middle of the road. I'm not really, conservative. I'm not really liberal. And I'm like, we were in a restaurant once, and this guy's like, yeah, I'm leaving the state because all the damn liberals. And I'm like, whoa. And here, man. And I'm like, what?
But yeah, I get that. But I just wanted you to finish what you're saying. They were kind of good move on because
I think it would work. I think Jefferson would be a good idea.
Yeah. But let's
They're
move
not
on
being
to the next
represented.
topic. That's I only like to, like, vaguely touch up on politics here, but so, but I wanted you to at least finish what you said, so I didn't want to, like, cut you off. But so lastly, I got some updates for you. So I got the digital proofs from Comics Wellspring regarding Turn Samurai #4. Gave them my approval. The physical proof, that's, like, for the reprint of issue 1. That'll be that might be for issue 4. That'll be here Tuesday. And then lastly, I have a little bit sorry. But yeah, so things are going well.
Yeah.
I am working on other things. Right now I have 2 comic books in the works. One of them is your favorite feathered friend. Next is a spy novel inspired by James Bond, where the preview is coming out next year. And as far as our feathered friend is concerned, I will be sharing more details on that when Turn Samurai ships. I don't like to promote another comic while the previous one is in play. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, this is a book. This is different. And this is supposed to be a year-long product. So I don't mind going this way, but I want to wait to go fully into the next comic when the next one is done. I just feel it's not. No, it's not.
Look at me.
Well,
I'm
apparently
the keeper now.
apparently neither do Mercenaries in space, Baby Krogan. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance, please sign to be notified when we go live. We will be doing a launch 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from today, this book goes live. We're going for $1,500. I'll be launching live on the stream. Next week is Cobra Kai. And you want to know one thing I won't be doing with my book? Like, this is my promise to you. This is something that I absolutely will not be doing.
The ticket and make a living day.
Yes, the revolution will be televised, sir. And yeah, so now that we've got that done, let's get on to the.
Hi, everybody. This is Zack Snyder. I'd like you all to check out this amazing comic called Screecher, made by the Every So Cool Phoenix Press. It's currently on Kickstarter, so give it a look if you want something to fill that void.
By the way, that is AI voice. I that is not actually Zack Snyder promoting Screecher, as much as I would like that. See, that was like one of my like playing around with AI kind of thing, and it just kept around. So we're gonna do Indie Comics Q&A. So right now in this panel we have 3 different fine gentlemen at 3 different stages of their comic book career. We have the absolute noob, Jared, who's doing his first comic, who knows absolutely nothing and needs all of my advice to actually get.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Jared's doing a comic. Didn't you know that, Chris?
Well, yeah, but I don't think he's a complete stranger to comics. I call
Comic-
yeah.
You're ruining my shit talking, sir. You're ruining my shit talking.
Well, hey, hang on, Chris. We all know he's old. He probably forgot I'm a comic fan.
And then you have the person who's been doing it for a little while, knows some things but doesn't know everything, and then that is me.
He's been doing this for way longer than a little while.
Well, if you want someone who's been doing it for way, way, way longer, we have the grizzled veteran, the one whose books put both of us to shame. We have Chris, who has infinite tales to tell us.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have 3 different people at different stages of our career, and I just wanted to, all of us to kind of go around, share our indie comic book creation experience, any advice, any challenges we've had that we still have. And then here in the chat, if you guys got any question for us, you want to pick our brains, please be gentle. We'll be happy.
Be gentle with me. Tear him apart.
So let's start with Jared and tear him apart. All right, Jared, my question for you is, this is your first comic. What are some challenges that you have faced, and what are some things you have learned in the process, or am learning?
Challenges. Okay, so first off, dealing with writer's block, because there are plenty of times where I'm sitting there at the computer and I'm like, what do I put in here? But it was like, luckily, it's like and then to counter writer's block, I heard this fantastic piece of advice: just put it on the page. Don't worry if it looks good. Just put it, because because part of the process is that you're going to edit the post. Yeah, exactly. So it was like, just do that. And also, I wanted to. I took great pains to make sure that my characters are different enough from who they were homaging, so they don't look like ripoffs. But you can get kind of like who I'm sort of homaging.
Mm-hmm.
So and also it was kind of when I was writing the script. That's how manifestos are. But also it was writing the script. I wanted to make sure it was like my scripts was like to the point where it was specific enough that Dawson knew what I wanted him to draw, but also general enough that he had freedom to like explore and like put stuff, because he straight up, he put stuff in there that was not in the script, but it 100% like helped. I mean, Nick, you've seen the art.
Yes, I have. So normally this would be the part where I insult it, but I don't know Dawson. I'm not his friend, so I'm not gonna like shit talk it. It's actually good art. Honestly, if Jared was doing the art, I would say it's terrible. But I don't know Dawson, so I'm just gonna be honest and say it's actually good art.
I'm glad you apparently like me.
Yes, I like you enough to insult you. So,
but anyway, I actually have the first 5 pages all pulled up. If you want me to share my
give
screen.
it to me, baby.
And by the way, by all done, they're all done. In other words, drawn and lettered. The first 5. So this is the first. It's actually the second time.
I just have one question, sir. One question before I show this. Did you use the old ways?
Kind of. So what I got here, I'll like expand it a little bit.
Now, does that not look sexy? I'm serious. Like, come on.
Yeah, that looks sweet.
Yeah, and we went for a very like mature and gory like feel for it. Like, here's a perfect example of what I was talking about. I did not have heads on a pike in the script. It's just he took it upon himself to put that in there, and it works so well. And there's still like, see, there's like,
ow, that chiropractor is not getting his deposit.
That guy has to grow a spine. But anyway, and then it's like, then we like,
you want a piece of me? No, I want 2.
Yeah, that was such a great scene in that movie. But yeah, it's like just so
it's on shocking.
Okay, but the other thing I liked is that when he lettered it, when my bad guy speaks, you have this special design of the word balloon to make it. He's basically my version of Darkseid, so I wanted to sound intimidating.
All right, I have to do this. Where is she?
Where's the trigger? Where is she? And then he put a red hue like in the air, because especially like red emergency lights because the palace is under attack. And even here, where he put like on the computer, there's a diagram of Earth. There's like an alien language here. A lot of the stuff was like not in the script, but he like expanded. That's the other piece of advice that I would give people when you're writing for your artists. Give them space to like explore what they can do, because trust me, that will work out well for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And then what other challenges have you had before I pipe in as your editor?
Well, actually figuring out how to write a damn comic script, because here's what they don't tell you. There is no set format for a comic script. There is some like established like styles and that you can go with, but there is no go with this, you're good to go. So it was really like figuring out, how do I write this? Because I want to make sure it's like, again, like it's clear enough that Dawson understands, but it's also specific enough. So even Nick, when he was editing it, he luckily the story's good, but the rest of it was like a lot of my like facts is Nick, and you can pipe in on this, was more like formatting the script so it looks like a professional comic script.
Formatting, dialogue. As I've started to edit some more script, and I've realized dialogue is very much a challenge for newer writers. It's kind of a common thread. Like, newer writers tend to write very plain dialogue. Also, a lot of newer writers tend to both describe a scene and then their character say it. Like for example, the description is, the hero enters a cave. It is very dark. And they'll have the character say, man, it's really dark in here. Like, this isn't a radio play, guys. Like, you know.
Yeah, you can see what, because the characters can see it's dark. Yeah, and yeah, that's the thing. And then I tended to like write a lot of dialogue, but then Nick reminded me, this isn't going to fit in a panel.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is a lot of new writers, especially the ones that come from the prose world, they tend to have too much dialogue, too many captions. And I'm just going to be honest with you. This is a problem that I had in a lot of my earlier scripts. So I'm just as guilty. as these guys. But I wanted to build off of what Jared was saying regarding the artist adding details. So here's Turn Samurai issue 4, which will soon be shipping out to people within the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Like look at like all these details, okay? Like we literally have an Evangelion.
Fly me to the moon.
You know, or like the last oak in the city. All of this I Pair X, all of this was my artist Brian added this. I did not.
I love the combination of that store. Liquor, guns, and more. That's a winning combination.
There's a Shrek thing right here.
Yeah.
Like, there's a Shrek parody. Like,
no, but yeah, and that's my point. Because if you give the artist the freedom to do all that stuff, it's basically the way I wrote it is okay. These characters fight. This character punches.
Better. Like,
yeah, exactly. The way I wrote it is like I wrote mine like this character punches Xerxes. There's stuff going on in the background. Besides that, do what you want. Obviously, he runs it by me to make sure it like fits. But yeah, third life.
See, I'm just now noticing some of the stuff he put in here.
Available soon. ... Maybe.
Like, oh god. And like also this other detail where they just put a board over Judy's Flavor Palace and had it Tyler's. All this stuff is Brian's. I did not tell him to do this. He did, and my comic is the better for it.
Yeah, it helps when the other reason why I went with Dawson is because he's seen a lot of the same movies and TV shows and he likes the same stuff I do. So like if I'll describe a scene, I'm like, remember in Man of Steel when this happened? And he'll be like, got it. So it's pretty much like that. That's the other thing. When you're picking an artist, trying to like find someone that like likes the same stuff you do. The other thing is really, and this may seem like a pretty obvious like suggestion, read comics. Because when you read them,
no, you're saying I can't make comics if I don't like. I have to read comics to make.
Well,
comics?
in other words, don't be like comic book Twitter. But and also, what I found was very helpful. Some trade paperbacks will include like the script of like the first issue in the back of the book. Read and study that because then you'll be able to pick up a few things like, okay, this is how you describe the panel. It's how you do the captions and everything like that.
Yeah. So, is that all you wanted to say, Jared?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm really glad Baby Krogan is here because as I said I wouldn't show anything for Screecher, I lied. So this is the alternate cover for Screecher number 3. This was done by Baby Krogan.
I'm Screecher.
Chris, do you get the homage?
Yeah, Batman.
Screecher.
Yeah.
Yes, that does look familiar. So this Baby Krogan is doing this cover,
and I gotta say, it looks fantastic. That's gonna be the one I'll be getting for sure.
Yeah.
Oh no, Jared, wait till you see Irene's cover. You might want to. You might change your mind.
I'll probably get both. The point.
Let's just say, so I've got Irene doing the main cover. Let's just say, Screecher is doing a certain slide.
Ooh, it sounds very I forgot the anime I was going to reference mid sentence. God damn, I'm turning into Nick.
Nani?
All right, and then here are some of the pencils. Oh, God damn it! I was wanting to wait to share this, but this is a live stream. Who cares? Here, so we've almost got we've got up to page 8 of the pencils done, and we should be starting the first half of the coloring August 1st. So yeah, these are pencils for Screecher 3. We're already really deep into the project, I will say. And then the last thing I wanted to share, well, I'm in a bit of sharing mood. Jared, can you read Brown Destroyer's comment while I pull it up?
I think that's the problem with indie comics, that more and more teenagers are moving toward video game formats. Their brains are wired like that as opposed to reading stuff in general. Yeah, that's true. That is kind of an issue there.
Well, until you look at the manga sales.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I think this is my opinion with in like the manga versus the manga versus comics debate. I don't think it's any like particular thing. I think it's just with when it comes like manga is offering what comics can't: good stories, good characters, and a digestible format. But getting back to remember that spy thing I was telling you about?
Ooh, yes.
Here's a little preview for you. So it's the adventures of Alec Quartermain, the son of Alec Quartermain, set in the 60s. So the pencils and inks were done by a gentleman named Forrester, and the flats were done by this very good-looking person named Nick Phoenix. Yes, I am doing the flats on these.
And I will say, it looks very classic comics, like in terms of like the way the characters look and feel. It looks actually kind of, it's very cool.
So, Chris, as a person with the most experience, what do you think of my flats?
Yeah, it looks good, man. I like it. You know what's weird? Like, and maybe I'm in the minority here, but it almost looks like leaving it in the flats almost gives it that classic look.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like instead of doing like the full on shading.
Mm-hmm.
Forrester's pencils and inks are kind of doing a lot of the heavy lifting here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
but that's the way that they.
I'm not going to take too much credit, but I do think some of my color choices were pretty good. You know, and I think I did a pretty decent job, but like I would say it's like 70 to 80% Forrester, 20% me. That's how I'd say it.
Yeah, it just like the art style itself, like it lends itself better to flatting than to like the more shaded 90s. You know what I mean? Like it looks like if you were to put that in dot, I can't remember what that printing style is called. You know, in the newspaper where they do the little red dots close together.
Oh God!
Like,
imagine this in newsprint.
Yeah, that's what this looks like. I like that the classic homage. Like,
and this is set in the 60s too. This is like a send up to like the Sean Connery era of Bond.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to come up with a full book next year, but Forrester realized it would take a little bit longer. So we're going to do a preview edition. We're going to release the first issue next year. We're going to do a Kickstarter for the first issue as a floppy. And then the year after that, we'll have the other three in addition to the first one as a full volume. So basically, it's like a promo, get feedback, you know, just kind of get the hype started. So yeah, that's how we're doing things. But yeah,
we do.
So for me, as far as my struggles, I'm just gonna say the classic indie comics is marketing has been an issue. Like if you ask any indie comics person, probably the biggest struggle, let's say, is marketing, because we're not businessmen. Most of us are not business people. We're creatives, really, at best. We're artists, we're writers. None of us really have MBAs or business or marketing. And so that's always going to be a struggle for a lot of us who aren't really professionals. We're just people with talent. And so I've had to learn a lot of things on the fly. I've made a lot of mistakes. I would probably say one of my biggest mistakes early on is my first few campaigns, I didn't use Gemini mailers. I basically used bubble mailers with like extra padding and like bracing. And I only really had a few stuff that got damaged. But I got lucky. And eventually I did switch to Gemini mailers. And then I just had RJ do stuff. But I would credit that as one of my biggest early mistakes. Networking can be an issue at times, but I think I've gotten better at that. I mean, I literally have 2 other amazing people here. And then there's Jared.
Damn.
See, this is how you can tell me and Jared are friends. We roast each other.
Well, don't worry. What you guys have to understand about Nick is that he hasn't had his prune juice yet.
Huh? God! Did you do that on purpose?
That could not have been better timed ever.
So Chris has had his fiber today. Chris has certainly had his fiber, but Baby Krogan says, would you say sales are better in person at a convention versus online? So I can speak to this. I'm probably the only person on the panel who has extensive con experience. There'll actually be an event tomorrow. Check me out at the Great Lakes Expo in Clinton Township, Michigan. Set tomorrow from 10 to 5. Sorry. I probably do 4 or 5 conventions a year, roughly. 2 big ones and then a bunch of smaller ones. I would say that yes, my sales are better in person if you add up all the conventions into one. But the thing with the campaigns is I get more in a shorter amount of time. So like per month, average campaign for me is like 1,000, 2,000. But my average stuff for cons is between 200 and 400. So when you add up all the cons, I tend to make more. It's really hard to say. Chris, what's your experience?
In terms of profits or
conventions versus online?
Well, I've never had my own table at an artist alley. I'll be doing that this September. I have been to I have presented several times at conventions when I worked in video games, especially at that San Diego one. God, we took over Hard Rock. That sucked. But yeah. All I know is
for a night it was a soft rock.
Dude, no, I don't know. Like we had like weird marketing for Defiance. Like basically what they did was they took over Hard Rock Cafe and turned it into like this like cantina aesthetic from the Defiance TV show, and then they put TVs at every booth, at every like booth table, and they had us stand there like a bunch of jackasses and like walk over to people who were just trying to enjoy their meal and be like, "Hi, my name is Chris. I worked on this game called Defiance. Here's a wireless remote. Please enjoy a demo of the game while you wait for your meal." You know, and I'd hand them the controller and then they'd play it and then we'd get their feedback and stuff. But it was like, I don't think that's what people wanted to do when they came in to eat.
They just wanted their overpriced burgers.
Yeah. And it like so that was, you know, some of the presenting stuff, and then others were, you know, when we went and did some booth crawls. I feel really bad because we were over at the Capcom booth and Street Fighter 4 had just come out, and like they were giving out free posters for Street Fighter 4, and I'm like, awesome. And then like one of my bosses is like, dude, we got to go. We got to get back to to Hard Rock. I'm like, okay. And the guy that handed me the poster is like, well, if you get in that line right there, you could actually get your poster signed by like one of the creators of Street Fighter. And the guy was within earshot. He's looking at me. And I'm like, yeah, no thanks. Sorry.
Wow.
Asshole. That asshole, he knew what he was doing. Some people choose to be assholes. Remember that. That guy chose to be an asshole in that one. All right. So Brown to Story says there needs to be a decentralized group of indie artists. They together funding only indie comic shops at every corner. Here's the thing. I've been in the indie scene since roughly 2017, 2018, or at least active in the indie scene. And there's always somebody trying to be like, we need to form a group. We need to form a committee. I know one jackass is like, we need to bring back the Comics Code Authority for indie comics. And
what?
It's never going to work. The reason that indie thrives is because of the decentralization, because there is no central body telling us what to do. That is the whole entire reason indie exists. I'm not even like chastising Brown. This is a natural thing for people to think. Like, it's a natural thought. I'm not begrudging anyone who thinks it. It's more ignorance than anything else.
Well, it's also, so to some degree, there is this natural inclination for creative people to form cool kids club cliques, where basically you get these
they can gate the comics.
Yeah, well, it's not just it's like when I started, 4 years ago, it was the tone of the industry or the indie sphere was definitely a little different. It was a little less hostile, and I'm noticing now that like all these little factions start forming, and quite frankly, I have friends in all of the factions. I stay out of the drama, but like I think they understand that drama is what makes more money than comics now. So they'll go on YouTube and they'll do their little feuds and they'll make paid chat or what is it, super chats.
Super chats. Yeah,
yeah,
like
and
the comic equals wrestling. I've made that comment. I'm not the first one to make that comment. I'm not going to take credit for it, but other people have made that observation, and I think it's a pretty fair observation. Indie comics being wrestling.
Mm.
But yeah, that I think Dave kind of has a good point here. The same thing it takes to be successful in any indie scene: connections, networking, former community, name recognition. And I think that's why a lot of those cliques kind of form. Like, I would argue Comics League in and of itself is a bit of a group. A very short group. All of them filled with amazing people.
Well, yeah, and the thing that I always tell people, and that I told a certain old man when he started his YouTube channel, is that I told him, hey, listen, you're doing comics on the internet. Have an internet presence, start a YouTube channel, get your name out there. And then he brought up, well, I'm a comic writer. I'm not really a YouTuber. And I go, yeah, that can be true. However, it's like your comics will only grow so much when you just do that and not do any YouTube marketing. Because if you get your name out there, your audience starts to see, oh, Nick, I know that guy. He's super old. I'll back his comic.
Yeah, and
that's the way I talk. So there you go.
I will be honest. You were not the first person to say that. You were not even like the second or third. And I resisted that for a while because of like what I said. It's like I'm a comic creator, not a YouTuber. And I gotta be honest, I was wrong. Like I think my YouTube presence has helped. Like for the last few campaigns, I've launched on my own channel and been successful because of it. How many other people needs to go onto other people's channels to launch? I launch on my own. Also, hey, John Up, it's hanging a little bit to the left, but I'm good. But yeah. And so would I have more money if I launched on like Bancroft or like other people? Yeah. But because I can launch on my own channel and still have a reasonable start, that is a big boon to me. Like that means I don't need to rely on other people. Like the thing about having your own platform is you're not beholden to other people.
Yeah. And again, it's just all about getting your name out there. And the best way to do it is honestly at this point on YouTube, because here's what some people don't understand with YouTube. Relatively, it takes work, but it's in a way free marketing.
Because here's the dirty truth, and I think I've said this to Jared, I said this to other people. People, and this was said to me, so this is not my original thought. I'm trying to be honest with you guys, trying to be straight. People don't back you. I mean, people don't back your comic; they back you.
Exactly.
Okay? So
yeah,
yes, there are people who like street. What? What do you say, Chris?
I really hate that paradigm. It's an awful truth, but comics are YouTube merch. They're not the priority.
Yeah,
I mean, people do like the comics. Like, there are people who like. Are there people who back ISOM because of the Cult of War stuff? Yes.
Oh yeah.
But are there also people who genuinely like ISOM, who genuinely like Yaira,
myself included? But the other thing is that there are people who will just buy Batman no matter who's writing it. I'm saying, in the event that our comics blow up and they get to that level, then I would say people buy Athena because of Athena. But to a certain degree, people buy from you. People back you because they like you. That's the thing. You have to get your personality out there and let people know who you are, because then if they connect to you, they're gonna be like, okay, you know what? I'll back his stuff because I like the guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the personality is just what gets you in the door. I think the thing that keeps you there is your character. Yeah, because there are a lot of people who like Screecher. Okay, like I see a lot of like enthusiasm for Screecher. But also like the ISOM stuff. Like I actually see a lot of groundswelling like love for like ISOM, Yaira, and whatnot. And I think that's kind of the secret to Eric's success. Yes, he has great promotion. Yes, he puts the Call to War stuff. But he has interesting enough characters. And let's be honest, his books are no better or worse than your average Marvel or DC comics. Can we quit the nitpicking of the stuff?
No, his books are better than the worst DC or Marvel books. I'm going to put that in there.
I'm not Starfire.
Are they perfect? And yeah, this
That's a pretty low bar, Jared.
No, but let me put it right. Are they perfect books? No. But do I enjoy reading them? Are they fun to read? Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. Obviously, also have a quality book. That's the other thing, because that's the other thing. People will show up at first for you. They'll stay if they like your personality and the book is good. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like that's the thing is, whether it's comic books, music, literally any scene has kind of more from product based to personality based. Like with music, books, it's like you see it like the music scene. I think is a great comparison in indie comics because you see a lot of musicians, whether YouTubers or they have like Twitter presence or whatnot. Social media is a tool that is a godsend to people like us.
Yeah.
And we should be using it. But I think John's quote is pretty important to read. I back mostly because I like the book. Too many people now don't be able to sub the art for the artist.
Yeah, exactly.
That is totally fair. The other thing I would like to put out there is beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Mm-hmm. So what quality is like the most subjective term you could ever have. Some people put more emphasis on other stuff. For some people, the art is what's most important. For some people, it's the characters. Like you could have the way I like to say, like you said, like, the art draws you in, the writing keeps you there. Like the same thing with the people, but both of them need to be there in tandem.
Mm-hmm.
But some people have more talents for the others. But I've talked enough. Chris, what has been some of your struggles and what do you want to show off?
Let's see, struggles. Let's see. I think because I'm a one-man show, it sucks in regards to having to wear many hats when you have a full-time job. Like I'm doing like I know this is like the wrong thing to say. I don't freaking care. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm not doing this because I'm trying to make a business out of this. I'm doing this solely as a vanity passion project. Mm-hmm. This is something that I started. Yeah, I started this because I worked in the video game industry for 10 years and I have nothing to show for it. Like that depressed the hell out of me after I left the industry. And I'm in my 30s.
But you created the idea that Ubisoft stole for Shadows.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, regardless, there was that void left over of I switched into an industry that no longer leveraged any kind of creative input whatsoever, which oddly enough, the video game industry rarely did that as well. So I always, I've always wanted to do something creative on my own or whatever. And I looked back at all of the hobbies that I've had that kind of told me, within probably from when it happened was like 2013, 2014, until about 2016, every one of my hobbies became invaded and hijacked by people who hated me. People who told me that they didn't want me to be their customer anymore. People who I've been fans of, all these different things, Star Wars, Marvel comics, Dungeons and Dragons, all this stuff. And I guess the common
white male, Chris. You're a white male.
Yeah, the Korean Jew guy is just a bigoted white male. But it got to the point where I was like, well, what made me happy? Like what I look back on my youth and I was like, well, I wasted my teen years working on developing a tabletop role-playing game. And maybe I should do that. Maybe I should get that out the door because that was the last time I was actually truly happy. So I looked at how big it was and I was like, holy crap, this thing is a monumental task. And I spoke with one of my engineering friends who worked over at Blizzard at the time. And somehow the conversation led to World of Warcraft. And it was like, well, out of all the MMOs that have come and gone, all the WoW killers and stuff, why the hell was Warcraft so successful right out of the gate? And the reason why is because the World of Warcraft existed before the World of Warcraft. And
yeah, like you could go to the places that you saw only in
exactly.
Like they mentioned, Goldshire, Blackrock, I
want to see that on the ground.
Yeah, and then like in the world, there was like remnants, like there was like a monument to when Grom Hellscream fought off the thing in Warcraft 3, or like the storyline literally picked up from Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
And you saw little pieces of it, you know.
So the basically the kind of conversation led towards, well, it became successful because it had all of this lore and all this world before, and people are excited to get in on the ground level of a game that they've only been playing at an eagle-eye view. You're actually playing one of the units in the Warcraft game. So that's super exciting. And then it was like, yeah, and look at all the supplementary materials. They have novels out. They have board games. They have all this stuff. And I was like, well, I could put some novels out or whatever to introduce players, to the world of Infinitale. And then I realized nobody, like, at the time I was looking at, what my market was, teenagers or whatever for my thing. And I'm like, I don't know if I have the energy to put out a full on, and again, this is totally foolish, but like, I didn't know if I had the energy to put out a full on novel, one of them big 3-inch thick beefy boys, to introduce players into a world that they don't care about yet, So I instantly said, well, what else can I do? And my engineering buddy's like, well, why don't you just do comics? And I was like, holy crap. Yeah, we did that on that Rift game. The Rift collector's edition actually came with a comic that introduced you to the world of Talara. And I was like,
Chris,
yeah, I could totally do that.
Kids nowadays don't realize how impactful this moment was.
And the Alliance has all but evaporated.
Coritane, sabotage.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Latin.
Well, and Chris, the
But
other thing
look
about...
look at this. Oh, wait. Jared, this is from 2004.
Wow, CGI is better than The Flash.
Like, this still looks good today. This holds up. All right.
Yeah, by the way, Chris, you don't have to worry about writing a large novel. After all, as we know, size matters not. It's how you use it.
Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! I'm like, look at that! Look at how good that looks.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, I worked with
compared to the cutscenes we're getting now.
You work with Thor's dad.
I worked with this guy Joe Peterson, who did the matte painting of Ironforge in the background there. Like, if you looked into all the intricacies that were put into place for these cinematics, you'd find it's a very patchworked, like, it's a sum of its parts. Like, these little vignettes look absolutely amazing, but tilt the camera to the left 3 inches and suddenly there's no model there.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, the story itself is very packed for different factions, and I think that I actually kind of like worked to the benefit, because different flavors of story for different people. Like, if you wanted traditional sword and board, you had the humans. If you wanted a little more horror, you did Forsaken. I think the thing that one of the Warcraft strengths is it mixes genres seamlessly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it became the Las Vegas of fantasy, though, where every side or every fantasy trope you can imagine had, like, it's the Simpsons did it, Warcraft did it. And it's like, yeah, but they literally had 10 what is it 20 years now of crap they've been throwing in just to, it's like a soap opera, and they've just been throwing everything they can to keep that story going.
Pandas. They have Kung Fu Panda. Like, Jared, have you
voiced by Jack Black? Yes, I have seen that DLC.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to pull up that moment now. I don't know if he's actually seen the cinematic. If Jared's actually seen the cinematic, but
what is this for, the Mists of Pandaria?
Yeah. Jared, check this out. All right. Watch this. for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think that's a Mistweaver. God, I'm such a nerd. I am such a nerd. I know what spec he is just by looking at him. Jared, what's this part?
He just hands him the sword.
Yeah, like you could just tell like the tone from like you saw the first one, and that's like, you know, I think this was like over 10 years into the game. So you can just tell like the tone difference.
Yeah, it was like
Chris,
the
sorry, go
fifth
ahead.
expansion. Yeah. Well, so I guess going back to my story, yeah, so I thought, well, screw it. Rather than just making the tabletop role-playing game system that may or may not even exist, because at the time, you know, this isn't the 90s anymore. I don't know what the markets are. I haven't been in, you know, I've basically been told that, you know, all these hobbies don't want me as their customer anymore. So I'm like,
Yeah,
screw
Jared,
it,
didn't
know.
you realize it? It's not the 90s anymore.
So
really, because you seem to keep adapting 90s properties.
yeah, well,
At least, hey, I do late 90s properties while everyone else is doing.
Well, with you,
early.
you do late 1090s
I've evolved.
properties.
I've evolved 4 years down the line. I'm 4 years ahead of everyone else.
That's because you've been going for a century.
well, I guess I have a 90s property because the Infinitel role-playing game system started in my dad's duplex after my parents got divorced, and then it moved into the Pelham Public Library, where I babysat the community kids who were not shy about telling me how much I sucked as a designer and a storyteller. So it was a great proving grounds. You know,
there's no better feeling than kids telling you suck.
Yeah, well, it's the you know, from the mouth of babes or whatever, the honesty. But it got me over. Like, I don't have any fear of public speaking. I don't care. I've been humiliated in every which way.
Like, you've literally had the worst things happen to you. Everything else is nothing compared to what you experienced.
Yeah. So with all that said, you know, I took all of the game notes that we had throughout all of the play sessions and chronicled them. They are all written down. Yeah. Well, everything was written down, and I thought, okay, let's adapt this into a flash animation, a cartoon. I can do this. So I wrote it all out in screenplay format, and I went, wow, this is well beyond my means to do. I gotta tone it down. I'll do the comics. And then I got peripheral nerve damage and lost use of my hands. So I was like, shit, I can't draw anymore. This sucks. So I contacted some artists and a guy over in Los Angeles, Zen. He works for a company called High Concept Media Properties, HCEMP. He's worked with a couple of other indie, or actually quite a few indie comics people, and he offered to help me contact out some artists that were well within my budget because I'm not super rich. And yeah, we started planning. This is in like 2015, 2016. Started planning the comics, and we had the screenplays. He looked at the thing. He looked at the screenplay, which was like 3 inches thick of paper, and went, "I can't work with this. You're going to have to convert it to comic script." So we went through and converted all of the screenplay format because I took a class in screenplay. I was in the Project Greenlight with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck here in Boston, but that was
Matt
a whole other thing.
Damon. Matt
Damon. So you met that man.
Yes. And contrary to belief, these popular belief, they're not stuck up. They're actually really cool guys. I don't care whatever spin we see in Hollywood. They're pretty cool guys. But regardless,
yeah, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck always do kind of strike me as like real.
Yeah, there was another guy, I can't remember his name. The three of them had founded the Project Greenlight stuff, and obviously I didn't get anywhere there because I was never on the show.
But
I was never.
But what about them apples?
Yeah, well, yeah. Regardless, though, so I we converted everything into the comic book format, and we started making the comic. And I was like, oh, it looks like we're gonna have about 10 books. And that's when the reality kind of pimp slapped me upside the face and realized, holy crap, this thing costs about as much as my car to get out. I can't do this on my own. I'm going to need, just one 54-page full color book cost me, quite a bit of money. And I was
that's the other thing for new artists, for new creators, is it's going to cost money and lots of it. I've been very lucky. I'm kind of a bit of a cheapskate when it comes to stuff, and I've been very fortunate. But for a lot of people, expect to spend multiple thousands of dollars, depending on the size of your book or whatever. But expect to spend at least $1,000 on your comic minimum.
Yeah, that's putting it generously too. Yeah, and
exactly.
I realized I couldn't foot the bill on my own. So I was like, well, how do I convince other people to give me their money to help me make this passion project of mine? So that was when I looked at Kickstarter, I looked at Indiegogo, and I looked at like Comicsgate, because I actually had followed EVS on YouTube for a while, because he kind of rose to fame around the time when I was starting to see all my hobbies tell me that they hated me and didn't want me in them anymore. So it was nice. It was refreshing to have a YouTube channel where there's a dude who's like, look, I worked in the industry, and I'm Captain Ahab, and I don't want to have my hobbies ruined by the blue-haired land whales. And I was like, yes.
Sadly, EVS has become the very thing he once swore to destroy.
Don't lecture me, Nick. I see through the lies of the Jedi.
You were meant to destroy
You missed a line, but
not
okay.
join them. That's enough stuff that's gonna get us canceled. So
yeah. Well, so the thing though with EVS is it was all Comicsgate, all this stuff. So I started following all of the other channels as well, because it wasn't just his, and they were talking about, you gotta do Indiegogo because that's what this crowd backs, because there's all sorts of the woke shit the woke shit that kicked you out of your hobbies is also going to gatekeep you off of Kickstarter. So I was like, okay, I'll go on Indiegogo, and I launched on Indiegogo without ever going on any channel or anything, and I literally for like the first 3 weeks of my month campaign had 0 backers, and I was like, oh my god. I'm screwed. Like nobody wants.
I think this is important. I want to interject, and I just want to say, if you're going to do a campaign, and I think Chris would agree with me on this, pre-promotion is very important. Like I know, and this is something that I fight. I still fight with this myself. Like it's like, oh, I want to do the promotions afterwards, so people can back it during the stream. That's cool. That does help, but you need to
do that.
Know about it and be excited about it. And then there's also stuff like momentum, and you get your most of your money first and last week, but you need to be a certain percentage going into the last week. It's a lot of psychological stuff, like a lot of like mindsets, I'd say.
It was a major ego blow. Like this is like, I'll tell you right now, you can't have an ego when you're working on this stuff, because it doesn't it prohibits you from course correcting. And
I think everyone's first campaign usually like blows up in their face. Like my first campaign was in 2018 when I was still with the other company, and we tried to do Project Access. Like we were trying to go for like $3,000. We maybe got like 150, and that was a blow.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: is like, despite it initially blowing up in my face, I actually closed like $8,000. So what I did was, and I owe it to several people in the community. So when they say community is important, that is 100% true. For starters, the first person who reached out to me was Chris Evans, Sugar Chris.
For a second, I thought you said Captain America. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dude, that guy.
Captain America retweeted your campaign, where you probably get like 50,000.
Well, he has a show with Simon Poitier called like the morning. Is it the Morning Roast? And he invited me on his show to show my book. And he's like, dude, this book is really good. He's like, we got to get you on other channels. I'm like, other people would be interested in talking. It's like, oh, hell yeah. So we reached out to a couple other people, like Irene Strakalski there, Rini Draws. She had me on her show, and I feel bad because, like, dude, I don't know if it's the Jewish or the Korean side of me, but I can talk forever. Mm-hmm. And I inundated them with way more information than I should have about.
I really need to reach out to Rini for Screecher. I really need to. I honestly.
Yeah, dude, she's awesome. But
I've had some correspondence with her. She probably have me on.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is. It's funny because we are doing almost identically the same stuff. She's got like a fantasy world. She's built the whole like she's got like languages and magic systems and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is like, if you want to succeed, look at somebody who's succeeding and ask them how they did it, you know? And it's not always a path to success, but it's definitely nice to learn from others' mistakes. And her project has been rocking. Fiendish.
Yeah.
And like, so I was like, okay, she's doing what I want to do. I'm going to follow her. And it's not that I'm ripping her off. I don't see it that way. I see it more as we're both trying to do the same thing. I'm Dragonlance. She's Forgotten Realms.
Hello, nurse. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing about yeah. Oh yeah, sure. She's a hottie and everything. But dude, I didn't know what she looked like or anything for the long, like, I didn't, I looked at her work. And that's where I was blown away.
And here's the dirty little secret, okay? Yes, a hot woman will attract more guys to the platform. Yes, that is true. But the problem is, if you want to be really successful, like an attractive woman with a great personality, like Rini, that's the secret. Because Rini is attractive, but she's talented, she's attractive, and she's very charming. Like, you talk to her. And like, oh, she's really fun to talk to. She's really nice. And like, yeah, I like this person. I'm going to go back her book, And charm is something anybody can have. I'm sorry. Like, you can be an ugly dude like me. And you just smile a little bit and people will buy your book. Trust me.
Nick, you forgot the old part in there.
Hey, I didn't want to call any of my co-hosts ugly, so I just took the bullet.
No, but at least be honest about yourself and put the old label on.
Okay,
there.
Fine, Jared. You are one ugly motherfucker.
So does that mean I'm a xenomorph queen? I'll take it.
Yes, Jared. Yes, you do suck.
Like aesthetics and the hotness of a creator aside, what attracted me to her project was. The girl can draw. I mean, this is a woman who knows both the industry, the art and storytelling. I mean, she's clearly a manga anime fan.
And she has the confidence of a person who knows her shit. That's the other thing about, and here's the thing. Despite what both the feminists and the MRAs will tell you, men love a confident woman. Like an actually confident woman who knows her shit. Men love that. Like, this is something like neither the feminists and the MRAs are scared to death to tell you. Men love a confident woman. And Rini's confidence of like, yes, I know how to draw. I know what I'm talking about. That's endearing.
But like all creator aside though.
Beauty is in the eye of the beer holder.
Like all like creative aesthetics aside though, her project is what attracted me. Like not knowing nothing about it, like say it turns out that Rini's is an amazing AI and she turns into a fat old half Korean half Jew like myself. And
you mean what's gonna happen when she hits 50? Like all Asians?
The wall defeats them all. But like regardless, like looking at the project, I was blown away. It was funny because it was the one time that I think it was either Twitter or Indiegogo or somebody. Like they had like a recommendation when I first created the account, and it was like, bam, the eye drew right to it. It's like, hey, welcome. You'd said you like fantasy. Well, what about Fiendish? And I was like, oh hell yeah! Like boom, that's what got me in. And so she had me on her show. A couple other people like Vinny Tarmella, Red Gaze, a couple of the other people, and then even Bancroft had me on at one point. And to me though, like I really got to thank Nita Lanning and Meredith Lawford, who Meredith sadly isn't with us anymore. But Nita looked at my campaign and went, dude, this is why you're not getting backing. You have a they don't tell you this, so this is inside baseball. You have to game the algorithm in Indiegogo. Indiegogo will not promote products that have less than like 30% backing. So if your product is failing, it's going to sink, and it's going to continue to sink into a failure momentum. So this is why you'll see a lot of the bigger guys will actually lower their goal to garner more backers that are, if they fill up that percentage bar and they get it, the closer you can get it to 100% on day one, the more your product will be pushed by the algorithms on Indiegogo because it's success. And to Indiegogo, success means more money for them. So it's an incentive for them to keep pushing your product. So Nita looked at my thing and said, well, it says here you want $12,000 on a non-fixed budget, meaning that the way that you set up an Indiegogo account, you can say if it's a fixed goal, if it doesn't meet the goal, the campaign fails and everybody gets their money back. But if it's the non-fixed or the flexible goal, what it means is regardless of it succeeding or failing, people will still get their product. But it also means untrustworthy people could say thanks for the money, yoink, and disappear, which has happened quite a bit. And unfortunately, I chose flexible because I thought I already printed the books, I already have everything. This is just the money that I'm trying to recoup. Like I've already spent this money. I'm just trying to mitigate the financial damage by running this campaign. So they looked at the $12,000 flexible goal and the, an unproven product and went, I ain't backing that shit. I don't know who this guy is. He's going to take my money and run. So Nita's like, you can't do this technically, but if you contact support after your campaign launches, you get one chance at this kid. Change your goal to a lower number and you will get a more realistic goal or whatever. So it went from 12,000 to 1,200, and within 3 days I reached that reached that goal. Mm-hmm. And I was able to then go into the extended the additional 30 days, and bam, the project was a success. It went from zero backing for like 3 weeks to like full on, $8,000 worth of backers.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, this is why stretch goals are often really important to a campaign, because there's this weird phenomenon. It's not really weird, but people are more likely to back your campaign if it's successful. Where if they say, oh, they've already met their goal, it's basically people seeing it like, oh, they've already won. It's kind of like, oh, then I know I'm going to get my book. There's no doubt now. So that's why you see a lot of people where like they make their goal in like 5 hours, they post that on there, they get their bragging rights, but then they go like the real game begins, which is the stretch goals.
Yep. Yeah. The stretch goals is your mini game that you're presenting after you make the money.
I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting close. The other thing I will say is the hardest time you're going to have is when you're just starting out, because it does get easier as you get higher up the totem pole. Like as you start meeting more people, as you start networking, as you start to build a reputation, it actually does get easier.
Well, if you have a proven product too, like my first book, when I launched this, I launched it at the height of COVID. Dude, I did everything wrong with my first campaign. So it's like, learn from my failures, learn from my mistakes. I did everything wrong. I launched in the height of COVID around
COVID was
after things.
Everything was getting back in COVID. I got back to
after Thanksgiving. So US postage went up even higher. Ooh. So yeah, I basically ate a lot on shipping and all that stuff. But I'll tell you this was currency that you can't get from physical currency. This is credibility. Every single one of the people that have backed from me received their book in less than 2 months, a month.
Yeah, that's really important, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh, another tip I'd have for crowdfunding: try to have all or most of your book done when you crowdfund, because when you have at least have like a few completed pages to show on your campaign, that does wonders. Like when they see like, oh, there's a bunch of completed pages here. Oh, they're really far. for me, I try to have my books done before, or have most of them done. So like I can show full colored pages or full letter pages, have the cover ready. I think that's helped me a lot. I think that has helped me get stuff.
Yeah, so there is two very disparate schools of thought with crowdfunding, and I know my particular belief in crowdfunding is not what a lot of other crowdfunders have, and it becomes a point of contention a lot. But like, I'm in the camp that believes exactly like what you said, Nick. Like, have your book done. Like, you're not selling an idea; you're selling a product.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right with me. I'm waiting until the book is 100% drawn and done before I even consider launching the campaign.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is, I don't want to launch the campaign and have people wait 3 years for a book.
Yeah, like I've met creators. I've had people on this very channel. I interview them. They have a good book. They crowdfund it, get successful. Then they disappear for like a year.
Yep.
And then they come back a year later. Like they disappear completely from social media. They go dark. Like, yeah, hey, here's the book. The worst, and I've said this before, the worst thing that can happen is you get a book and then be like, oh, wait, I forgot I ordered this.
Yeah,
for me, momentum is really important.
It's
like I put a lot of hard work into momentum. I do 2 books a year. I am always promoting. Like once I'm done with one book, I start promoting the next one. And I'm constantly in a phase of promotion. I deliver on my product, and then I get people hyped for next product. And yes, I deliberately did just evoke that.
Yeah. I backed a book like 3 years ago, and I still haven't received it. And the thing is that then the person updates the little updates and shows like pencils. So I'm like, you're still drawing the book 3 years later?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is like this is where the disparate schools of crowdfunding thought are. So I come from the camp of I'm selling a product. The risk is fully on my shoulders. It is not the onus of the backers to be the ones that shoulder this risk. It's me.
Mm-hmm.
So the money that I'm receiving is the money that I can use to, mitigate the damages that I've sustained from this book, from the production of the book, and to pay for the shipping to get the book out to people. That's the only reason why I'm doing the crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding for me is printing and shipping. The production of the book comes out of my convention. So with the money that I get from conventions, that pays for the production of the book. And then the crowdfunds are to pay for printing. That's why I can afford to keep my limits so low so that I can get funded better.
Well, the other school of crowdfunding thought is, well, I'm relying on the money from the crowdfunding to go into the production of the book. And I'm sorry, but like as a backer, exactly like what Jared was saying, like 2 to 3 years later, I'm sorry, but like, I don't know, call me the ADD or the TikTok brain. I don't care. Like you're telling me about a product. If I'm waiting 3 years later to know about, like to actually get the product in my hands, I've lost interest.
That's why I say what you want about Eric July. When he sets a date,
he delivers.
Going to launch, he delivers.
Yep.
And like I'm taking a big risk on my novel Lost Kingdom because the first draft is done. Okay. But it's going to be I estimate it's going to be about a year between them backing and them getting it. But I'm going to release the first draft to everybody at the campaign's end. So when you back it, you're at least getting something when the campaign is done. And you're going to become a beta reader. So I at least have something to keep people engaged during that time.
I'll be using my red pen.
Sure, Jared. But at the very least, I have something to show for it at the very end of the campaign. And if nothing else, you'll have the book essentially at the end of the campaign. It'll be very rough, so there'll be changes. But also, I have cover art. I have cover art to show. Xevious, thank you. You did great. So I have, even then, I feel very uncomfortable with this. I don't like doing it. Sometimes you can sell a book, but it only really works if you're already established and you have a track record and you're very clear with like, okay, this is where we are. This is what's going to happen. Here's a timeline. Here's a roadmap. And if you do that and you keep people updated constantly, like, okay, it's going to take 2 years to do this book. we're gonna have updates here, here, and here. And as long as you can keep your goals or keep communicated, then people will back it again. But that's like a one time thing. If you betray that trust, you can't get it again.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good point. So in business world, they have this term called churn, and churn is when you lose a customer through a negative experience, and they quit. They stop being your customer. And a no sale is better than a churn, because a churn can also generate more negative press, because they'll tell their friends and their friends will tell their friends, and it will create an ill will or bad customer relations. And that is nearly impossible to repair.
I actually take great pride in the fact that I feel like I have developed a reputation, because like my past like 4 campaigns, I would say, ever since like Turn Samurai issue 2, where you back the book, you get it like 3 to 4 months later, you know, and that's really good. I think that's I think that's a good turnaround for a comic book creator, and it develops trust, where it's like, oh yeah, I bought 3 books from him and they arrived 4 months after the campaign. You know, that's better than certain frog versions, as Dan says. So like, yeah, we need it. Professionalism is sorely an underrated trait among our kind.
Yeah, and like honestly, when somebody gives you their money, and again, I can't speak for anybody else, and this is just my personal philosophy, but when somebody gives you their money, you're on the hook to provide, to deliver.
Agree.
And like, I lost sleep. That's why, dude, my first book, when I got that shit out in the height of COVID, like I was losing sleep. I'm like, okay, I gotta get logistics down. I gotta get these books out. Like, and it turned out like I was like the shipping king. Like everybody that got it, like, holy crap, it's in like Mylar and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, I was just trying to get this crap out. Like nobody got a screwed up order. Nobody got like the wrong book. Nobody got like, 6 copies of like the same cards or whatever. But like the idea was, as soon as that money changes hands, like the music changes. Like your game has changed. You're not now the buddy advertising your product to get people to buy. You're now, okay, I got to deliver. And you got to take that. That is the most serious thing. Everything else becomes secondary trust at that point. Yeah.
And this is what the mainstream creators don't realize, is that, well, it's like, remember when you had that comic book store owner critiquing like comic book creators and saying, don't like put yourself into like into these characters, they're supposed to act a certain way, and they were making fun of them, and all the commentators were like, if there's one person you shouldn't be insulting, is the people that directly buy your books.
Yep.
Yes, Marvel, you need to learn this. So if you want a lesson in a campaign, so this was Turn Samurai #1. This was a 2020 campaign, and look how much they raised, $304. But let me just go through the updates. It tells a story, in my opinion. So issue 2 is now.
And by the way, I noticed is that the first word in the description is old meets new. Oh, Nick, you were even self-aware back then.
Oh my god. So we got funded 3 days in. And then I had a conflict with the artist. And then he pulled it. So basically I tried to update people and I tried to get things going. Eventually, I kind of had when I have updates, I share them. Like look at the dates of some of these updates. Like December 13th. Next one was April. I tried to keep people going, interested and kind of say what's going on. Look at these updates. So I say things going on. I show pages. I actually show pages.
Communication.
Like I view this as a successful failure. Then there's June. Yes, I even back then I was using the memes. Yep, and that's June of 21, and then when it has arrived, I literally show a picture of the books.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I do issue 2 like that. So like, I'm gonna link this here if you want to check this out. This is a story told in the updates. Even when you fail, because like I only got the 300, I use that money to pay for the artist, and I put in a lot of my own money to finish it, and I got it done. I don't know how I managed to get that thing done, but it is.
But
and
you got the most important part. You got it done, because as great as the communication is and the updates and all that stuff, and I know this is going to sound really callous, but I'm a creator too, so it's being said to me as well. They don't care about excuses. Your customers don't care about sad sob stories. They paid for something and they want it. You know what I mean? And it's nice to give the communication there, because it shows a respect for the people who gave you their money. But you did the most important part, which was, at the end of the day, you got that out. You did what it took to get it out,
And I
and
also
that makes
showed
you
results.
super respectful.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't just tell people, I showed people. Like, you notice, like, where it says, okay, we have a new artist. Here's a picture of the page. Like, I showed you, hey, I'm doing something. And when I said, hey, the issues arrived, I showed a picture of the comics in the box. So it's like, people had actual proof. Like, I think
that builds credibility.
I feel like Torrent Samurai #1 was kind of my trial by fire. That saved my comic career, because before that, I'd done Project Access, issue 1, earlier that year on Kickstarter, and it was successful, and that was all done. But then this one was a bit of a shit show. But I was able to kind of use that, and I took the money from selling issue 1, and I made issue 2. I feel like issue 2 is when I really solidified myself in this industry. It's also when I was promoting it, it's when I met a certain handsome gentleman.
I still have that stream. I saw that
named Chris.
Or I met another grandpa.
Yeah, so issue 2 is really where I feel like I kind of arrived. And then in the same year I did issue 2, I did Screecher, and then that was successful. But yeah, that's kind of my story right there. But so Dave says, I hate it because I feel like they're taking advantage of the fans by working so slow. It's like they're treating their fans like a piggy bank. Yeah, like I see a lot of comic creators where they just keep funding like the same book for years, even after they deliver it, and it feels weird. Like I get there's people like what's his name, the Raver Destroyer guy, Joe Sontag.
Yeah.
He was funding it while he was producing the book. That's one thing. You know, like he still left the backer open while he was producing it. That's fine. I get that. But you notice how as soon as the book was ready, he closed it. You know, that's all up board. I don't know.
Well, also, like, you know, like I had a smart person once tell me, when nothing makes sense, follow the money. If you're making more money off of super chats and off of YouTube drama than you are off of a book, where are you going to place your priorities? You know, and I'm not making, I'm not trying to call out.
So you're saying the reason why the frog guy suddenly turned on the Ripper was because of money and just making drama for the sake of it after doing a cover for him?
Well, I don't know enough. Like, I don't get involved in the drama. I got to respect for both creators. But like, I got to say, priorities change when you're getting X amount of money from your YouTube channel, super chats every night, sitting there in front of a microphone talking,
Chris,
than you are from hunkering down.
Jared, you have something to say, sir?
Yeah, I gotta run because I gotta go grab some food. Great conversation, but yeah, exactly. I'm like,
final words, Jared. And what do you want to promote?
Okay, so in a couple of hours we'll be going live for CLD, talk about Captain America, and yeah, I'll be launching my book in a year because I want to have time to complete.
He already
the
has
book.
my money.
Yeah, I want to complete the book, and I want to get really kick-ass stretch goals. So you guys
He's
are
readying
like,
hopefully I'm
yes, I'm good, and I'm going to use the old ways. But so yeah, I hope to hopefully this campaign does well. I feel like I've done a pretty good job in like getting a network of shows that I can go on, like Nick's, like Sontag's, like everyone else I've been on, like Nerdad.
And Jared, just remember,
we stand here amidst my achievement, not yours.
Jesus.
All right, so it's just me and you, Chris. So yeah, we'll probably go for like another half hour or so, but
Sweet.
yeah. And then Dave the Imperator says, if you watched EVS when he first started, he was inspired to stream, but Internet Blood Sports by Ethan Rouskill stream. Yeah. The problem is, here's the problem with drama. Okay, everyone loves drama, but everyone has their limits. Okay, and I think, as far as indie is concerned, and I think honestly in general, with like society at large, we're kind of getting sick and tired of it. Like, I know among the comic community, there's kind of I feel like there's kind of like a general disdain that's been growing up about the drama, because like even as far as recently as a year ago, you could not even say anything negative about EVS, or his stands would get all over you. But now it's open season. Like, you can criticize EVS, and it's fair game almost.
Well, I don't want to criticize, and like that's the other thing is like I've noticed that a lot of indie comics creators are marketing their books towards other indie comics creators. And it turns into like a cult of personality where you're like, well, I got to be friends with this person so that they'll reciprocate when I back their book.
Yeah, and that's the other problem is you have the people who want to be kingmakers. I've encountered this myself.
Yeah,
where like they
cool kids clubs,
Yeah, and it becomes a crabs in a bucket mentality. Like, I'm not going to name names, but like I used to be part of this group like a couple years back. And it was a bunch of comic book creators. A lot of them you guys probably know. Like, I could name the names. You guys would probably know them. A lot of them are still active in the scene. But inside, it was very much kind of like a toxic kind of like one-upmanship kind of game. And I didn't like it. And I left the group, and they did not like it. One person in particular. And yeah, I'm not naming names, but I'm just kind of giving an overview. Because I'm not trying to start drama. I'm just talking about my history. And yeah, there's a lot of toxicity in this. But at the same time, there's a lot of good people. Like, I think meeting Jared was probably one of, like, I'm so glad he's here. But I think meeting Jared was probably one of the best things that happened in my career. Jared, to me, is a bit of a stabilizing force. He's a great person. He's been a great friend to me. But also, collabing on his channel and, like, him collabing on mine, I think Jared has helped take me to the next level, and I'm so glad he's not here because his ego does not need any more inflating.
Well, just another thing where you had mentioned the toxicity is that here's another inside baseball that nobody wants to openly discuss because everybody is feigning friendliness. There are a lot of indie creators that are very mercenary, and what I mean by that is they are very nice to your face. And when you are doing things for them, they are very nice, but they will never reciprocate.
Yeah.
So, for example, here,
I've met plenty of those people. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, just to finish, like, for example, I have composed over 12 indie books now that I can, off the top of my head. There might even be more. So there are indie creators out there who I've gone to press with their books for them. Okay. That means I went into Adobe InDesign. I did all the color trapping. I laid out all the pages. I made sure that there wasn't any weird color discrepancies or, dialogue falling off into the gutters or any of that stuff, And I've done all sorts of weird trickery, things that I haven't even done for my own books, like make hardcover versions and stuff. Okay. I've shown people how I've made videos explaining how I used the shrink wrap for my game box that I used to ship my product. All this stuff, people have asked me, where did you get this done? Where did you get that done? Yet, when I was asking people, some of them being the same people, they did not reciprocate. They would ignore DMs. And when it came time for me to promote my products, some of them had platforms, and it was just crickets.
Just to add on top of that, one of the problems that I have is like when I was doing a book or doing a campaign together, I reach out to people for advice, and I hear crickets. But as soon as that campaign goes live, and let's say I mess something up, everyone is coming out of the woodwork to criticize and be like, "Oh, you should have talked to me." It's like, I tried to, you ignored me, and it just kind of it's infuriating.
Well, it shows like it's a minefield of who will actually help you and who is just there for themselves. And
there is good people in this community. There are some damn good people. Like, I have a high respect for, like, Bancroft is great, Rini is amazing. Don Chin has always been Don
John's awesome.
John's Longbox. That dude is blowing up, and precisely for the right reasons. Like, like he interviewed Mark Millar recently. God damn that! Like, he's getting all the good people, and good for him. Like, there's good people in this community. Damn good people, and I will go back to them. Jared's an asshole. We all know that, but
I like I had mentioned. Sugar Chris was amazing. Is an amazing guy. Like, and here's the thing: is Sugar Chris isn't even a creator. He just has a YouTube channel, and he's a backer. He backs books that he likes, and he has no skin in the game. He's not part of any of the little cool kids clubs or whatever. And he was nice enough to be like, hey, maybe you should be on other people's channels, And then, like I mentioned, Nita Lanning, same thing. She's like, I want your product to succeed. Like, these are genuinely good people, and that's why I appreciate the communities.
And here's the thing. Like, every couple of months, you have a up-and-coming YouTuber, pseudo-intellectual, try to raise, like, isn't the indie community just every indie creator buying from other indie creators? No. If that was the case, none of us would succeed. There is a lot of people who just buy the books to buy the books. Is there some of that? Yes. But it is nowhere near. Like, there's not enough to make a sustainable business model for literally hundreds of people. Sorry, I just see that argument come up like a couple times a year, and it pisses me off.
Yeah. It's somebody that doesn't have his own YouTube channel either, and I probably never will. I've had the opportunity to be on multiple people's channels, and they've been nice enough to share their platform with me. So I got a chance to see. Present company included, but like it really shows when it's like, again, you compose their books for them, or you do some other, and again, I'm not trying to advocate for quid pro quo here, or any kind of reciprocation, but
it's all, but not necessarily quid pro quo, but like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of thing. Like, even if it's not an equal return of favor, there needs to be at least something, because it's a respect thing.
Yeah, and there are people out there that are just like, okay, this person is of no law. Like, what have you done? Brie Fault's Law, the whole, like, what have you done for me lately? Like, I don't, like, there are people in this field that it's all about them and only them. And the worst part is they're the ones that seem to be the most liberal with spreading advice. Oh, just, and I don't want to say grab the oar, because multiple people have said that. It's not attributed to just John Malin, but like that whole, like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I did it. Nobody else, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, but every time, like, these people have been asking for any kind of like guidance or whatever, well, nobody ever gave me guidance. Dude, you're
okay. I do have to give a shout out to Gabe El-Taib. Because Gabe El-Taib is like the nicest guy. And he's actually been very free. Like, I've asked him for advice. Gabe El-Taib has been quite the mentor for me. Like, he's given me very solid advice. Like, he's looked at my stuff. Gabe is legit, okay? And I will not hear any bad words about him. Gabe has been like the nicest guy to me. He's been a very good like mentorship to me. He's been on my channel. He's been on this channel, and I cannot say enough good words about Gabe. Sorry.
Yeah, I've never met the guy, but I've heard nothing but good stuff about him.
Oh, he is so nice. He's like the nicest dude.
That's cool. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, it is a minefield of a lot of really talk, but just mercenary people.
And a lot of crabs. I view it as crabs in the bucket. That's how.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happens with a lot of the Eric stuff. Is people see Eric doing his stuff and they get jealous. Like, I remember talking to like some of the people in that old group. I talked to the one guy, and this person, you'd probably know his name if I said it. We were talking about the Eric July, and he was like, "Oh, he hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned his success." Like,
I've been told that. Yeah,
he was acting like a salty little bitch. Again, not going to say names because I'm not trying to start any fires.
Yeah.
But you would know the name if I said it.
Yeah, dude, I've heard that. Like, I've heard that as well. That you haven't earned it thing. Like that one.
Yeah, a lot of like back channel discussions going on.
I'll tell you that really freaking burned my ass, man. When I was like, yeah, that's why you're not going to come on so and so show, because you haven't earned it. You gotta be in their show for like years or whatever, or months, and give super chats or whatever to get.
Bancroft literally said that to my face. Like I like Bancroft, and so I'm not really going into him too hard here. But he did literally say that to my face, that like I hadn't earned it, I wasn't big enough yet.
Oh damn!
I still like the guy, but he did, like, at least he was honest. I'll give him credit. He was at least honest, and he said it to my face. So I'll give him some credit. Please, I like Bancroft. This is not an attack on him. I'm just saying what happened.
Yeah, he's been nothing but good for me, or to me. So yeah, I don't have any issues with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just gets really, really frustrating when it's like the cool kids clubs choose who is going to be the next successor. You know, they're like, well, we choose to help this person or whatever, or we choose to allow this person more coverage or whatever. And it's like,
yeah, that's kind of why after I left that old group, I was like, you know what? I'm my own faction. The Phoenix Press, that's a faction. And I ended up joining Jared's Motley Crew, you know.
Well, I go with what, like, I'm a day walker. I'll sit on it. Like, there are people that I know that are hardcore Rippaverse fans, okay, that absolutely like have denounced Comicsgate. The cool I know.
I'm sorry, I knew you'd get a kick out of that one.
The Goyim, no. But so
it's a Zionist conspiracy.
No, that's right. Shh, for sure. But anyway, so you I have a lot of friends that, you know, are in the whole Rippaverse category of they absolutely denounce Comicsgate, blah blah blah, they hate it or whatever. And then I have friends in Comicsgate that find the whole Rippa thing just disturbing. Okay, that, you know, so it's the Coke Pepsi wars there. My thing is I drink only water, so I don't care about Coke or Pepsi. Like, if you're cool to me, I'm cool to you. If you need help, I'll help you. You know, and I've met cool people on both sides of that faction thing or whatever. And then I've met other people that are like downright hate it all. Like, they're like, I think the Rippaverse books are garbage, and I think that the Comicsgate thing is just a grift, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I've been backing those books and I've been enjoying what I've, you know.
I'm the same way. Where, like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Comicsgate, anti-Comicsgate, Rippaverse, anti-Rippaverse, hardcore, gay SJW. I don't care who the fuck you are. If you're cool, we are cool. Like, I know people who are hardcore leftists, and, you know, when we talk about, and we're cool. You know, I have friends who are Comicsgate. I have friends who are Rippaverse. You know, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you support. If you're like, here's the thing. I don't care who buys my book. It's a sale. Okay.
Yeah.
Like Heather Antonos could come up to my booth and wanted to buy my book, I'd sell it to her. Fanita Sarkeesian wanted to buy my book, I would sell it to her. If Kelly Sudaconic wanted to buy my book, I would sell it to her.
Yeah, well, that's
sorry.
That's business acumen.
Sorry.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, I don't know these people anyways. Like, you know, oh yeah, they're the demons that, you know, they've been propped up to be.
That's
these,
what's
like,
really funny is, I know I'm friends with a guy who's met Heather, and he says, like, he's pleasantly charming and decent enough in person. So that kind of, like, gave me some pause. And it's like, if I ever like see these people or meet them, the worst thing I'll do is just not talk to them or avoid them. But if I'm forced into a conversation, I'm going to be polite, because you want to know what? I'm not an asshole. I like to pretend to be, but I'm really not.
Well, that, and, like, you know, especially when you get old and you start evaluating what's really important in life.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Well, you learn that, like, you can still be friends with people who you strongly disagree with on a lot of things. Like for example, I have a friend that does video game streams. He was a writer for RWBY. Okay.
Oh.
He is very left leaning. He's also a fellow Korean, but very left leaning guy. Okay.
Mhm.
This guy is one of the nicest guys I've ever spoken to. Like, this guy is super cool. He backed my book. He did even did like a unboxing. Like, I was like, holy crap. like this is a guy who's like, the enemy, the lefty or whatever, and he's one of the coolest guys ever. So that whole left-right paradigm is bullshit.
Yeah. It's like that whole thing where it's like, dad comes home with his fishing buddy, and the dad is like a Trump supporting person, and the other person is like a diehard communist person. And it's like, wait, Dad, you've been fishing with this person for over years? Yeah. He's communist, right? Yeah. So what do you guys talk about when you're going fishing? Fishing.
Fishing? Yeah.
We like to fish together. And that's what we talk about. It's like they're aware of each other's politics, but they both like to fish. They both enjoy each other's company when they're fishing. They just don't talk about politics. That's the way it used to be. Whereas you had someone who you were politically against, you just don't talk about politics. Like, I have friends who our politics are diametrically opposed. We want to know what happens? We just don't talk about politics because we know we get into an argument. And we're really good friends, and I care about these people.
Yeah, if you respect boundaries, suddenly, and again, it's not everybody. There are several feral lefty people that I'd like to kick down an elevator shaft. But like a lot of the Twitter and social media bullshit is just performative. When you actually meet people in real life, and it's the Mike Tyson quote where it's like, people have become entirely comfortable with talking shit online.
Dear God! Sometimes it leaks into real life. Like,
and those people get their asses kicked. But like,
no. Literally, I need to tell something that happened literally like a few hours ago.
No.
It's fine. I made the right decision. So I was exiting my bank, and this kid turned in without looking, and he almost ran into me. And he said something, and I told him to F off. I was like, "Oh, you're triggered." He had like the gayest voice ever.
Stop it.
Like, I'll admit I was kind of furious, but I made the right decision. I just left. I came home and calmed down. Like, I made the right decision, but like, oh my God. So it bleeds into like that stuff bleeds into real life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure like social media and media in general has done a number on our culture, but like at the end of the day, if you're, it comes down to human interactions. And if you're holding your own self to your own principles, you're like, I'm not going to start shit. I'm going to treat everybody with respect until they ask me not to.
Don't start shit, but sure as hell end it. That's my philosophy.
Yeah. But like, I've learned that like, we've demonized Kelly Sue DeConnick. We've demonized, oh God, what's her face? The redheaded chick, the big wig. No. She's in comics. Not Heather Antos. She's one of the bigger ones. But anyways, I follow her, and I find that
is a redhead.
Yeah, but there's another one. I can't remember her name. She did like Red Sonja and stuff. But anyways, so there you go, Gail. So these are people that you're like, oh, they're insufferable. Oh, they're wacko lefties or whatever. I bet if you were actually in a conversation with these people, you probably wouldn't find them as disgusting. You know what I mean? If you're like,
I guarantee you, if I was in a room with Anita Sarkeesian, I've heard enough about what she is behind the scenes. I don't think I could stand talking to her. But like the rest of them,
yeah. I mean, there's always the irredeemable asshole. I mean, like I agree. The thing, because there's her, and then there's that Chelsea Van Valkenburg chick, aka Zoe Quinn. I think that's what her name was. Like, these people are just like, this isn't just social media drama. Like, when I worked in the industry, I knew people that knew her or them, and it was like, these people are monsters. These are like
here's Jira's not here, so you can't tell me what to do anymore. Here's the thing about Zoe Quinn. She was a suicide girl before all this stuff happened, right?
Oh yeah.
So
not even
Zoe
a good
Quinn
one either.
Yeah, I actually remember I found a leaked version of her set, and it wasn't very
what was it? Something Valentine or whatever?
I don't freaking remember. I looked at it; it was not very good. And if anyone remembers Suicide Girl, some of those women, oh my god, oh my fucking god,
big titty goth girls.
tatted big titty goth girls.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, Bonk. But that to me, it's like she was happy with the male gaze when it benefited her. But when it's I don't know. Like there's a lot of women who use feminism as a tactic for bullying.
Oh yeah, well, it's victim worship. Yeah, the dynamic changes when I think the term they call it is cry bully. During the
bullying,
yeah, they strike at you even as they cry, or they cry out even as they strike you. And those people have done irreparable damage to our entertainment community.
That is insane.
Yeah, there you go.
But
Dave's got it.
A lot of it is these people just need to talk about each other. Like I remember that, this is old culture warrior lore. But Chris, you're an old head like me. Do you remember a YouTuber named Lacey Green?
Lacey Green, yeah, didn't she? Her and Chris Ray Gun got together.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going. So Lacey Green was a sex plus YouTuber with she was actually a very attractive lady, big can of melons, and she was a feminist. All of a sudden, she got with Chris Ray Gun, or I guess you could say Chris showed her his ray gun, and all of a sudden she was like, I actually want to be more open to talking about people. As soon as she started getting some good dick,
she was hurting for a squirting.
I'm sorry. I love that whole situation.
Well, it just proves though, they can be diametrically opposed. Like what Dave was saying with Gail and Delaroz there. They have very contrasting views, but at the end of the day, part of being an adult is working with people you don't always agree with. And there are plenty of people that I would call friends that I have a strong disagreement with, either the way they like their majority of way they and I don't care. Like I mentioned my buddy there that wrote Ruby or worked on the Ruby stuff. And dude's freaking badass. He's agrees. It's funny too, because he's a retro gamer. And he would destroy me if I still had working hands. He would have destroyed me, in the old 8-bit, 16-bit era. But and I think people need to understand that when they're selling products or when they're in the social media space, about 80% of what they see is performative and it's not real, and that at the end of the day, everybody's a human being.
And to kind of bring things back to the advice, one advice I would give to people who's more right leaning when they go to conventions, you need to dull down some of your politics. Like if you go on there with a MAGA hat, you will make 0 sales. You will have people coming up to you who are trans, gay as sunshine, shots. Just treat them like human beings, as you should. And you'll get more sales if you just adopt more of a neutral stance. You don't need to wear pride stuff. You don't need to do that. That's kind of just, if you're doing it, because that's performative in and of itself. Just be neutral. Just go in, be yourself. Don't put your politics out there. Instead of wearing a Punisher t-shirt, maybe wear a Wolverine t-shirt or something.
Don't compromise your ideals, but don't shove them in people's faces.
Exactly. Because my experience is if you're just not talking about the politics, most of them leave you the fuck alone. Because it's like, oh, this isn't a racist. Oh, I don't have to worry. Whatever.
So what you're saying is when I go to the convention in September, I shouldn't show up with my kippa on and draped in a schmuck with a giant Star of David t-shirt.
I mean, if it had a Palestinian flag on it, I'm sure you'd be fine.
A big old blue and white Israel.
Okay, we're not going to go there. We are not going there. We are not getting that minefield.
Asian American was beaten.
I'm just gonna say I've sold comics to people in fursuits. I have literally done that multiple times. It's fine. They were yes, it was a fursuit. When you see your first few fursuits, it's a little bit off-putting, but you get used to it. Okay. Let's just kind of catch up on the comments, shall we? Lacey Green started off as an atheist, anti-SJW YouTuber, then switched to become a hardcore feminist, then mellowed out with Chris Ray Gun. You mean Chris Ray Gun mellowed her out? Sorry, that joke never gets old. One of my favorite exes modeled for one of the competitor websites, Suicide Girls. Oh, Dave, why didn't you marry her? How dare you?
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Pixar, it didn't happen. God, I love it when you do that. Oh.
Yeah. Honestly, like the customer seller relationship though is it's not like you're not going to like the only thing that's important is whether or not your customer is happy with the product that they purchased from you. That's it. And that you get the money that you're asking for. That's it. The moment you start imposing your beliefs or judging them like, dude, can you take your fursuit off? You look ridiculous. Like, you're not going to say that shit at a convention.
No.
Like,
I'll be like, oh, you're a person. You're like, I'm trying to think of like the most reprehensible kind of person who come like, oh, I'm trying. You're cosplaying as an acolyte character. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna pretend to like. I'm gonna pretend to like the acolyte for 5 minutes, and hopefully you buy.
I'm just not gonna mention it, dude. I'm not pretending.
I'm just gonna say, oh, I like your costume. It's really nice. It's from the acolyte, right? And if they say, oh, it's like, oh, I haven't had a chance to see it. I've been really busy, because you can make a ton of excuses, and it's fine.
Yeah, you're not gonna tell them it fucking sucks. You're gonna be like, look, it's just not, Sorry, I've had other things. I've been very busy. Yeah,
you can make 1,000 excuses, and it's fine. But compliment their cosplay, because odds are it'll probably be a pretty nice cosplay anyway.
Yeah. People work hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
And if they want to buy my comic, I'll be happy to. Like, you've seen some of the pictures of I love it when people in cosplay buy my comic and I take a picture, post on social media. Like, Batman bought my comic. Like, my favorite one is there was a guy dressed up as a samurai and actually bought a comic turned samurai. So I posted an actual samurai bought my samurai comic. It was so
Dude, I honestly, it's for conventions go. I've honestly considered. I don't know if I have it in the budget though, to hire a booth babe.
I would be very hesitant about that. The
reason why I wouldn't.
One thing if it's your wife or girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yes, having an attractive woman does help, but I think there's kind of a general disdain for booth babes kind of thing. But if you bring your wife or girlfriend, yes, you will have more sales.
Well, it's not so much that it's the booth babe itself. It's getting indie comic creators. A lot of them fail on this point, which is marketing.
Here's how I would frame it. Here's what I suggest. You hire someone to assist you at the con. That just happens to be an attractive woman, and that's
exactly what I would do.
Is to watch your booth. Maybe she'll take care of your money.
And engage with customers. Yeah.
Engage with customers. Take care of your money twin. But she's not your booth babe. She's just helping you at the con. It just happens to be a smoke show. Yeah.
Dude,
but
this
she's
is
doing other stuff. She's not strictly there to be a booth babe. She's your assistant. She's helping out. She's for example, oh, you bought my comic here. Talk to this really attractive woman for 30 seconds. She'll take your money. And yes, I realize you'll be staring at her chest. She's okay with that,
Well, it's the reason why I've considered this is because I don't exactly have the health or the energy to keep doing a lot of the convention stuff. And I'm starting to realize that a lot of the comic, the online stuff, it has been drying up to some degree, especially with all the ill will that's been created over the past years. And conventions definitely seem to be more lucrative. I've spoken to a lot of people now, and they say, "Dude, we make a lot more money at conventions than we do, selling on our online shops." And it's like, wow, that's...
yeah. Because here's the thing: a lot of the people we talk to online is probably at most 20% of the actual comics market.
Yeah, if that. Yeah, and when I worked in the video game industry, we hired booth babes. They were trained. They weren't just we didn't just grab some random stripper, throw her in a freaking cosplay outfit, get her tits out in front of a bunch of horny dudes and say, yeah, this is our new game. Check it out. And it's just what's this game called again? You know what I mean? Some Clueless. No, it's part of that responsibility. It's basically a marketing assistant, whatever you want to call it. But
It's,
the idea,
in my opinion, it's framing. It's a framing of like let's say you hire one of your hot friends. You say, hey, I want you to help me at this con. Yes, part of it is because you're attractive, but you'll also be like taking the money, watching the booth when I go away. But I'm just being honest. It's also because you're fucking hot, but I am paying you money. As long as you're honest with like your female friend,
Well,
you know.
it's marketing in general too. I mean, a lot of people don't want to hear that their personality or their appearance or whatever is off-putting to people. And in actuality, like studies show, like there's a reason why the operator has a female voice. There's a reason why the Japanese have things called hi girls. There's like these are all business facilitators that improve marketing. And a fat old bald half Korean half Jewish guy that's like got one foot in the grave is probably not going to be, it's not going to be the ray of sunshine, no matter how much he smiles, no matter how friendly he is, as some hot 20-something with a nice rack that is knowledgeable about the product and is willing to engage more personally with customers.
And I'm going to be honest with you, and this is going to come across totally narcissistic, but I don't fucking care. I do think one of the reasons why I am successful is I'm a reasonably attractive dude, at least from the shoulders up. And I can be like, I'm very enthusiastic about my product. I know some sales techniques. I'm not some sales guru, but I do know some things. And I'm enthusiastic and I'm like very charming to talk to. Like, does the fact that I'm mildly attractive and I have a friendly demeanor help people bring me help? Yeah. Yeah. I would think so. So yeah.
Yeah.
And you bet your bottom dollar if I get like a long-term girlfriend, I'm gonna try and get her to be my booth babe and watch my sales soar. But
yeah, I've also noticed that having 2 or more people at your table is a major bonus as well. If you're by yourself, not only does that limit the the traffic, meaning that you can only engage with one person at a time, but it also, if for example the aforementioned your aesthetics, your personality, or whatever are off-putting, if you have somebody to counterbalance that, i.e. your girlfriend or somebody else, it'll improve your traffic ratio.
Oh god, I've had to juggle people before where like I'm talking to someone trying to make a sale and then somebody kind of comes up, starts looking. I have to do the whole, hey, feel free to take a look at whatever you want, because I literally can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they just like walk away.
Yeah,
oh god,
and that's
oh god, hardcore bunny. Why do you have to be like that? Like, okay, we need to get our watch hours up. So like, hardcore bunny would be like, hey, here's $5. Shut the fuck up.
Man.
Oh god, I would actually do that. Or like, if someone super chats like $50, I will literally shut up for 5 minutes. And then watch someone do that. Like, hey, you paid me $50. You guys had the stream, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping also, because I, if it's not in my budget or whatever, for the booth babe, I got that interactive touch kiosk that I'm hoping will be a good draw at the table, because you don't have to, a lot of that barrier to engaging with people. Somebody just walk over to it and it's a big old sign that says "Touch me." I'm interactive, and they can actually, learn more about the product and the merchandise.
Another piece of advice I would give both you and anyone who is going to cons is observe. Like, look at other people's booths and look at how successful. Like, look at what they do right. Because, like, I'm going to tell you, my booth is not the best looking table in the row by far. It's probably usually the worst looking one. Very amateurish compared to a lot of the other people. Like, some of these people have very elaborate setups, and god dang. But it's important
to get a lot of me.
Yeah,
the thing about you, Dave, is you're the impaler. So I think it's more fear than attraction.
Intimidation.
Stream from the waist down. Oh, hey Rose, how you doing? It's the woman who rides eagles. Our good friend. Yeah, we're just talking about comics and con life and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to a con as a guest in like over 10 years. I kind of want to do it at some point where just go to a con as a guest to experience that again. The problem is like if like I could go to a con, I'd want to work. So it's like,
Yeah. Like I said, all of the cons that I've visited, like I was working on behalf of another company. This will be my first one in September where I have my own table and it's all on me at Artist Alley.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a stressful but ultimately exhilarating experience. Like, it will get addictive. Like, I feel like I'm never more alive than when I'm at a con. I never feel more like myself, more comfortable in my own skin than when I'm at a con. It feels freaking amazing. Just set aside one of those days to be a guest and work the rest. I don't know. Because if I'm going to work the rest, I'm going to want to work all those days. Yeah, that's the problem of being a professional. Yeah, because that's the thing where, like, I see where my life is heading. Where if everything goes right, I will be doing a con every weekend during con season. That is literally my future. Dave, fear is the mind killer. That's what fear is.
Is that a terror boner?
That's a terrible joke.
You're scared stiff.
I'll scare you in two if you don't shut up. Oh God.
Man, yeah. I definitely bringing a second person. Like for my my convention in September. My buddy Mike's coming up from Pennsylvania, and the
thing I will say is having a second person does help a lot, but you need to get used to doing it yourself because a second person will not always be available. Because trust me, when I first started doing it, I tried to have another person, but eventually other people they weren't able to come, so I had to learn how to do this myself, and that's something that you will have to learn how to do.
That's why I'm considering, a marketing budget because I don't have the health to do it myself anymore. So that's why I haven't been going to a lot of conventions.
Get a girlfriend.
No, I don't. It's not that. There are medical things involved, but for the most part, it's
they have a little blue pill for that.
Yeah, haha. But I'm hoping that. I'm hoping that I can at least set up a system. Like this will be a trial run to see if it's even viable for my product in September.
You need to be at that.
Well, I'll basically try to get others to do it on my behalf. Like a franchise. Yeah. Like, hey, can you guys go out and do this? Like, here's the product, here's the table, here's the convention stuff, here's the scripts.
I'm just gonna say this: if you're having people go to convention and you're not there, you need to make sure you can trust them because things can go really off the rails.
Oh yeah.
If you like, hey, silly girl,
things
you got a choice, but no, because if you don't vet them, like they could steal your money, or let's say they're at a convention and you're not there. They're wearing your T-shirt. They're wearing your brand.
Yeah, they're representing your brand. Yeah.
Let's say they get into a fight with someone and then it goes on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of how
your
professional marketing works.
Display.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of how professional marketing works. I worked in my my late teens. I worked for a billiard supply company in New England. They deliver pool tables and billiard supplies all around the all 5-6 states or whatever. And we ended up the driver of our van was an asshole. And he cut off a funeral procession in the van with our business phone number and branding.
They knew who to call.
Exactly. Before we even got back to the office, there was we're at one of the
buses, everybody.
There was because this is before cell phones existed. So the customer is like, "Hi, yeah, there's a bot." Well, I'm not gonna say his name, but like, is on the phone looking for the guy that was driving they'd like to talk with you. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, you finish up stapling the pockets or whatever. And they say, whoa. Yeah, he got me to do one. Comes back, he's like, yeah, you're driving us home tonight. I'm like, why? Apparently, we cut off a funeral procession. I'm like, yeah, I told you we were doing that. Yeah, well, they called our company because we got our number emblazoned on the side of the van. And the boss didn't like that. So when we get back, I'm probably not going to be your coworker.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I can hear the Italian in that voice.
Oh, dude, that guy was, yeah. Actually, I think he was Irish. It's just the new.
Oh,
the
God.
Name. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's like, dude, it's wicked hot outside. And then he'd like take we were at Provincetown delivering a pool table, and he was super homophobic, and it was the funniest thing ever. He had like a champion sweatshirt on in the middle of July, and he's like, "Oh, I should have known it." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "We got to take a ferry into Ferry Town." I'm like, "What?" "Oh, I should have known it when they had pink table felt." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, we're going to Provincetown." I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "You never heard of Provincetown?" So like, there's a big thing about how it's like this gay capital of Massachusetts. So we go into Provincetown, and we jump out of the van. And as soon as we jump out of the van, my coworker was this kind of big buff guy. He had a champion sweatshirt on, and he pulls it off. He's like, it's freaking hotter than the devil's rectum out here. He pulls his sweatshirt off, and all of a sudden we hear, look at him. And he goes, Jesus Christ. And he puts it back on. And the whole time we were there, he had like a sweat stain.
Apparently he was hot with or without the sweater.
So we're in there, and I'm finishing up the table that we just put together, and there's this old lesbian couple that I was talking to while I was stapling because they were interested in I was like, wow, I think I can make a sale, because I'm like, yeah, we do these for home use as well. And we were talking to them, and then one of the ladies is like, oh, I think your coworker there is making some friends. And I just see him at the bar. He's got a beer in his hand, and he's just kind of violently pointing at this thing, and I'm like in a direction. And then I was like, okay, whatever. So I finish up, and it's like, okay, we're done. Let's get the hell out of here. I'm like, what was that all about? I don't know. Some guy bought me a beer. I told him to go be gay over there.
Oh my God.
He's like, by the way, I'm pretty sure to the wind. You're driving us home.
I'm now picturing Peter Griffin saying and doing all of this. like I could just see your friend where it's like, oh man, that guy's so nice. Like, he's gay. He's been flirting with you all night.
What do you mean?
It's like you do realize we're in a gay bar. We've been in we went in a gay bar all night. He's a gay guy. He's been trying to hit on you all night.
But it was funny because like this dude was he had a mullet, and like again, this is the 90s, like the tail end of like the 80s were still an artifact, and like by the time we got out of the,
he was all business in the front, all party in the back.
Yeah, dude. By the time we got out of the air conditioned bar or whatever, and he was just drenched in sweat from all the because we're putting together a pool table. It was like 1,000-pound pieces of slate, and put this thing together. This dude looked like he got beaten up. He comes out, his champion sweatshirt had this dark stain across the back, the armpits, all the way down to the waist, and the chest. And he looked like a wrestler. Like it looked like Triple H coming out. His hair was all wet and everything. And he was a pretty buff dude. So it was like he looked like a wrestler or whatever. He's like, dude, I'm 3 sheets to the wind, just driving me home. He's like, I needed a drink, man. I can't handle this.
So, God. Yeah. just remember, Chris, it could have got a lot worse.
Oh my God, yeah.
Was one gay guy say the wrong thing. And I just punched that fairy.
Yeah. Well, dude, he would hang out, like, especially this time, he would hang out the side of the passenger window, and the radio would turn on, and he would sing louder than the radio, and he would alternate the lyrics. And one time we pulled up to a red light, and that song "Heaven Let Your Light Shine Down" was playing. Whoa, heavenly.
Yeah.
And the song is playing. And I'm at the right, like the left turn red light or whatever, and he's leaning out the window to the person that's like forward red light, and it was like an old lady or whatever. I could barely see because from the van, and he just goes, "Whoa, baby, pull your pants right down," and I'll just hear, and the car just takes off from a red light.
I guarantee
we got numbers here.
I guarantee you, if you look up that guy on Facebook, he is gayer than a rainbow. He has come out. He is living his best life, and he is now living in Fairy Town. I guarantee you, you look that dude up. He's probably still buff as fuck, but he is like the ultimate power bottom now. Oh God, Chris, you know I'm right. You know I'm right. You know it. People who act like that are usually the most closeted homosexuals. They're so in denial.
Well, if you've ever seen that movie Sex Drive, where Sean William Scott, Stifler, he played the older brother, and like the whole time he was making like gay jokes about his younger brother, and he's like, no little brother of mine's gonna take it in the chili ring, like all this other stuff. And then at the end of the movie, it turns out he like basically came out with his gay lover on Thanksgiving.
So he was the one taking it up the chili ring.
Yeah.
I love
so
it.
bad.
I love it. Oh,
yeah, I don't miss those days. The pool table stuff sucked, but it's funny because also during that time, that was when I was doing my Infinitale stuff, and it was probably the only thing that kept me going, because you get into work and it was 8 to 10 hours of pure hell moving, 1,000-pound slate, dealing with an angry guy that's like I had this one guy, Johnny, he was another coworker. And because I was apprenticing, his idea of fun was he had decals on the side of his door on the inside that were squirrel silhouettes. And I'm like, what's that all about? So you're about to find out. And I just remember a famous quote was, that New England stone wall ain't going to save you from this one. And he drives off the road to hit a squirrel. With all of the supplies rolling around.
Oh my God.
So I'm at work, terrified for my life. You can't say anything. These people are older than you, bigger than you. They probably got a lot less to lose than you. So you don't want to endanger their employment.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, at least I can
Projection isn't just for IMAX. Dave, I am stealing that. I am so stealing that. That has been stolen. Holy crap. Oh my God. Yes, exactly. Holy crap.
Yeah, well, that same guy, I remember when one of my coworkers who was also an apprentice, he went with the guy because we were basically arguing. I'm like, no, you go with him. I'm going to stay here and put together rails. He's like, no, I don't want to go. No, you're going with him. And then he comes back and he's all flustered. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, dude, we took a sharp turn and they almost rolled the van. I'm like, why? He's like, he was chasing a chipmunk, man. Like, yep, that's why I didn't go.
Oh God, I guarantee you, he's probably that wouldn't be the first van he rolled.
Yeah, well, I think he thought it was a challenge to try to get the needle to go as far right as possible, because it's a van and he drove that thing like it was a small sports car.
Oh, my God.
I get car sick, so the constant braking and slamming around. So I'd by the time we arrived at the customers, I'd be a lot of times I'd be like, I'm going to take about 5 minutes. I'll be back here. And I just got my hands on my knees standing outside the front door, trying not to retch all over the place. Yeah, those are some of the funner nightmare stories.
Yeah. So let's kind of start wrapping up here. We've got things to do. We don't have girlfriends to do, unfortunately, not yet anyway. But Chris, who is your no. What do you got going on, and what do you want people to tell people about?
So I've been working on trying to get the 3 versions of the book for book 2 out the door. And September's getting there close, and that deadline's getting real close. So we're wrapping up production on book 2, standard edition, alternate art edition, and the manga version. So I'm hoping to have something to show for that very soon. Get those to print, and then I'm also starting on my 3D printing stuff. I don't know if you've seen it, but I recently posted a painted model of one of the statues that I printed from my 3D printer.
Oh,
And I think it
no.
turned out pretty sweet.
Feel
What's
free
up?
to share a picture of it. You're most welcome, Keely. We live for your entertainment. We are your dancing monkeys. And so while Chris looks up that beautiful statue, I'm just going to say thank you everyone for joining us. This was a great show. If you've made it this far, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But for the rest of the month, we have it mapped out. So join us next week as we talk about Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 1, where we talk about the show, the new season, and where things are going. And then the week after that, we have our Friday night feature. We are going to be talking about Top Gun. Melee K will be coming back. And we'll be answering the question, is Top Gun the gayest movie ever made?
Stop it.
Yes. Yes, I'm going in that direction. I mean, there's literally a song that says "Playing with the Boys." I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the next 2 weeks. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I just wanted to show some of the stuff that we're working on for Infinitale Chronicles. So we now have the cover for Book 2, the official standard edition cover. In addition to the standard edition, there's also the so you can get a free preview here on the site. So
I love
all the
the
nice
animation of like the page turning. It looks so smooth.
Thanks. In addition to that,
that's why I always say, Chris, you were like 3 years ahead of everybody else in terms of like production value. Like all the stuff I see is just freaking amazing. Like you are ahead of all of us, and like the stuff you do, the things you present, your quality, like DC or Marvel couldn't make a website this good.
Sweet. Well, thanks. In addition to those 2 other books, there's also Jumoko no Taisen, which is the War of the Trees manga edition, essentially.
So they're trees.
Black and white, baby. This will be your traditional manga experience. It contains books 1 and 2. This is like almost 200 pages. So you're actually, there's a couple of updates, some different pages and whatever. So if you've already purchased book 1, this might be an interesting novelty to see what the manga version or how it differs in that version. And again, it's read right to left. So it's a little different than the standard version, but there's that. But here's let's see if I can, let's see. Oops. Oh, that's the box. So yeah, that's all the products will be shipped in a box, but that is
I would hope it would be shipped in a box. I hope you wouldn't ship in a box as opposed to a grocery bag.
Well, yeah, but it's an actually branded box, which I'm hoping.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, so this is the painted version of Nessa, one of the characters from that's featured in book 2. Stands about 8 inches tall by 5 inches wide at the base.
Chris, can you read Dave's comment? Read it. No, read it in the Jewish voice you can muster.
Right to left sounds like commie gobbledygook to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, this is so the actual statue will ship. I don't know.
Hello, nurse.
The actual statue itself will ship in this paint ready, primed white
But
format.
if you make her anything but a redhead, Chris will hunt you down and kill you. Just kidding. He will kill you in Minecraft, but nowhere else.
I'm shipping it with a free paint set, so you get all these nice colors. And,
Chris, do you have an answer to that question?
I obviously, honestly, at one point was considering going the cheesecake route, but I don't think that's a targeted market for the product. Because
I have no clue what Keely's talking about, but okay.
Oh God, Drew. But
bonk, 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 bonk. I'm bonking all ye. Y'all need to go to horny jail.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about this is if you're a fan of like Gunpla or model kits that you paint, this is a nice little kind of starter kit. It's a solid piece. You don't need to assemble it. This sucker is printed in one piece, and you get a nice little free paint set of paints and brushes. And if
oh god, Dave.
Well, you could if you want.
This stream is getting bad. Oh god. All right.
And in addition to that, obviously we've got the poster that I had worked on earlier. And for those that want the cheesecake, that's about as cheesecake as we get. That was done by Din Money. That's a hollow foil card. And then this is the card that we used it on the thumbnail this week. This was done by Pal Rodricks. And I was the one that colored it. Sorry, what was that?
That's what Silly Girl is saying it's perfect.
Oh, sweet. Hell yeah. Well, yeah, so this is all of our trading cards from past Series 1, Series 2. We've got the Founders card from the first campaign. And mailing list card.
Nice.
Okay, so the mailing list card for campaign 2, one of the Twitter free giveaway cards when we reached milestones for followers. And then I can't wait to show off what these blue and purple cards are at the convention. But yeah, so in addition to that, one final thing that I'm working on is this is my interactive touchscreen kiosk. So you won't be seeing the cursor here or the tools down bottom when it's on the kiosk. But the idea is that this will be touch screen so that people at the convention can go over and get a little more insights or information about the product. For example, tell me more about what the books are. So we have the 2 books.
Oh, that's nice.
Thanks. And then you can just click a book, and I can watch the trailer.
Innocent ones.
Or I can actually flip through a giant.
Oh wow!
Get the preview of the book.
Clean. This is like super clean. I like it.
Oh, thanks. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, and this other stuff here is completely superfluous, but if you want to learn a little bit about the characters, I did this nice little, tell me about the characters. So if I click on any of the thumbnails,
Aisling.
I get the pronunciation of their name. I get a little blurb about the character. Same thing.
Kalen.
And blah, blah, blah. And it does that for all of the characters there. And then is it the map? And again, this is completely superfluous information because this is more world building stuff. A lot of people won't care, essentially, but for the nerds that want to dig deeper, they can learn more about the world that this takes place in, and it's all in service to the story. So it's not like all of this was just extraneous garbage that has no bearing on the world or the story that's being told. So
the continent of Voithla.
You know what, Dave? I'm really not sure. If they want to reveal themselves, they can, but they are under no directive to. So,
sorry, what was that?
Sorry, Dave was asking a question about like our buddy Keely guys and girls. But yeah, let's kind of wrap up here. I need to go get some food. But
sure, just one final.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
These are some art prints that I'm will be selling at the convention as well. So if you want to learn more about who the artist was that made it, you can go through this and check out who made it and get a little information about the artist. When you purchase the art prints, and that's pretty much it. So
yeah, we definitely need to go more in depth to this at a later date. So this will not be the last time you'll be hearing from Infinite Chronicles. One of the benefits of being a co-host is you have infinite shilling privileges. So anytime like people want to shill stuff on my show, if you're a co-host, I had carte blanche. Silly Girl, are you a boy or a girl? I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious, but I mean, you all know me. My gender is an owl, so it's all good.
I'm an attack helicopter.
No, I identify as a phoenix. But we're gonna take off here. We're gonna take flight. Thank you everyone for joining us. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I kind of assumed as much. You are a silly girl. Playing Professor Oak over here. So you're doing Ash's mom. Okay, that is good to know. But thank you everyone for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Join us next week for Cobra Kai. Tomorrow we'll be playing some Witcher 3 on this channel. Then on Tuesday we'll hopefully get back to The Witcher. But thank you everyone for joining us. And remember, I can only show the door. Wonderbad is canon.